Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. North American stock futures trying to get back into positive territory here. A little bit of a mixed showing coming off of another record-setting performance for the S&P 500 back on Friday. We saw all three major U.S. indexes claw their way back to gains to end off the week. Strong gains, in fact, right across the board. The S&P eventually ended the session up about 1.7%. The NASDAQ was down 0.8% at one point, ended up in positive territory, 1.2%. So overall, the Dow still up about 7% on the month, 4.3% for the S&P, while the NASDAQ is in negative territory. But when all is said and done, only 0.4% to the downside on the month for the NASDAQ. Everybody eyeing these media stocks this morning. Viacom, CBS, trying to get back to the upside. But after that just amazing sell-off we saw on Friday after a hedge fund liquidation. We'll talk about that coming up. Viacom, CBS, there's Discovery, some of the Chinese names, Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent Music involved in that as well. We'll discuss all of those to come. Boeing shares, meanwhile, higher. Yeah, another order coming through from Southwest. It's Monday, March 29th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And then we're going to look at futures. Yeah, we're negative right now, but we're trying to get back to the upside. The NASDAQ leading the way there, 0.15% only in negative territory. TSX futures here in Toronto about 0.4% to the downside at this point. Brazil's open already, trading down slightly. Yeah, Bitcoin with a big move overnight, 7.5% to the upside this morning. Crude oil's back in positive territory, a little change for gold. To start the week. Morning, guys. It's Monday, holiday shortened week. Obviously, the Easter weekend coming. That means we get Friday off. Monday, we're back next Monday. But it should be a little bit quiet on Easter Monday. However, we have lots to discuss this morning. Obviously, these media stocks, everybody watching them once again this morning. Viacom, Tencent, even some of the Chinese names got involved in this. I had to look this up because this Archegos is how you actually pronounce it. Phonetically, it's A-R-K-A-Y, GOS, the hedge fund that got liquidated, or some positions got liquidated on Friday, really affecting a lot of names here heading into the new week.
Yeah, and an interesting new week it's going to be. Welcome, everybody. It should be interesting to say the least. I'm glad you looked up the phonetic pronunciation of that one, Archegos. We'll probably be talking about that those moves on Friday. There's no way to get around it because a lot of these same stocks are going to be following through today. Look, there's no way around it. I mean, I'll be the first person to admit when you saw the sharp sell-off. This is from an 85 offering in Viacom. In a few sessions ago, the stock was close to $100 or over $100, and when it made the flush down and gave the halt trades to the downside, candidly speaking, I actually had along 51.50, tried it a bunch of times, probably too early. If you waited until down around 45, much easier to make some of that money back. But for me, I lost like a quarter of my day trying that long a little bit too early. At one point, it was half, and then made some of it back off the bottom. But it just goes to show sometimes when things don't make a little sense, patience is certainly going to be a virtue. A lot of the same names are going to be on the watch list on the top of view today. So get familiar with not just Viacom and Discovery, but Tencent Music was involved, GSX was involved, Baidu. There were a lot of names involved, not just Viacom, even though that's where the focus might be. It's an exciting week also because I got to say it, baseball starts this week, and I'm excited about that, Sean.
Yeah, it should be good Thursday, I think, or some games
Thursday.
maybe earlier than that. Yeah, we have Tencent Music short right here, 21.50. So we're already in the money, 50 cents. We tweeted that one out as well. So we'll watch Tencent Music off of just we talked about it a little bit there. What a disaster Friday was for a lot of these stocks. Tencent used to be, a huge high flyer. Now we're back down 21. I mean, just look as an example. Like $32, bang, gets hit all the way down. Like, look at that, 16.30. What? Great little bottom there. So yeah, we have 10 cent music on board now. We just took DraftKings, and what a big move this is going to be here. Hopefully, signing a deal with WWE just hit right now. So we go long 63.60 all the way up to 64.15 right now. So a bunch of winners on right now, man. 40 cents both ways, and then this one we've taken out a little bit at the top here, 10.20. This is Mogo now taking mortgages on Bitcoin. I don't know. We took that one as a shot, but right now DraftKings looking pretty sweet to the upside here. We'll take a little bit off right now, and they just enter a new deal with the WWE, and then 10 cent music also, both 50 cents in the money. We're going to see if we can get some more 10 cent down here at 20.87 or so. Let's see if that continues to come to the downside. But yeah, wow, really happy with the way this DraftKings is moving here. A beat down name we saw on Friday, guys, like wow, all the way down to $61, flying high near 70. I mean, look at this. We talked about this a couple times when DraftKings was above 70. It comes right back down, kisses that 50-period moving average, and then today, we'll see. We'll see if it's any good news or not, but just flew up a little bit there on that WWE news, Brendo.
Yeah, going to be lots of names to watch and pay attention to coming up this morning. We'll jump into why we should be watching all of them here in the next hour or so. Before we do that, let's get over to the desk and say good morning to Miss V.
Good morning, Brendan, and hi traders. Happy Monday, everyone. Let's have a wonderful day, lots of profits, and please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Let's get it started, Brendan.
All right, let's get it started, guys. We'll have a little chat here to start things off just regarding what actually took place on Friday, so everybody's kind of brought up to speed. This Archegos hedge fund had to have a forced liquidation of some of its positions. So we saw massive share blocks being offered across, a number of different stock symbols, Viacom, Discovery. Most of the media stocks were dragged down with those shares. So you can have a look at Fox, Fox A, were both significantly lower as well. We are seeing, multiple reports again this morning that there may be still more to come when we talk about this selling. There's going to be, apparently more share blocks offered right across. On Friday it was Goldman. We're hearing JP Morgan has more to sell. Credit Suisse, as we talked about, with big shares to sell. Once again, so we kind of have to be very careful here, not just jumping in, punching long right out of the gate here, I think, this morning.
Yeah, look, let's be perfectly honest. When we see moves like that, and you don't necessarily see a material change in the business without the full picture, your gut instinct is, oh yeah, rubber band, let's jump into those longs. But with the contagion that's sort of come around here, and I'm looking. You can even look specifically at some of the banking names. I mean, I looked at Morgan Stanley here, trading down 5%, still under pressure. Goldman Sachs under pressure. Credit Suisse already double that to the downside. That's Nomura in Japan took a big haircut. So certainly there is a little trepidation in not just the individual names which have these block sells, which could be coming in off the open, but also the firms which are potentially eating some of these losses. And in Credit Suisse's particular situation, it does look like it's going to weigh in on their next quarter earnings. It goes without saying. I mean, Nomura took a $2 billion hit, and Credit Suisse could be in that same mark. So you look to see what's going to happen to like a Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs when all this plays out. The other side to this coin is, it's hard to say exactly how ugly this might get, but on the off chance that you do get some sharper sell-offs. I mean, I'm sort of looking back to some of the levels that I liked on Morgan Stanley and putting them in the back of my mind here. Now, I did like it at 60, but I'm actually looking at this cluster here around like the 66 to like 68. So if this actually gets any deeper in the next coming days, I'm probably going to be looking to see whether I want to add to a Morgan Stanley. I think Goldman Sachs. Just to play it both directions here, and I know we're going to be day trading and might be in the short side of some of these, but there could be some opportunities if this digs any deeper than it already has. I mean, certainly you got to go shopping when the blood is in the water, and it feels like it might be the start of something here in some of the banks, Sean.
I just bought. I'm not that Credit Suisse story. I'm not concerned about that one. Like $2 billion. The thing is, these guys can hold a lot of loss. It's down a little bit. I would, like Neil said, I'd be picking up, quality banks at any time you can. I did pick up some Fisker right at 17 and tweeted that out on Friday. I think that's, this has been beat up and it's right near. I mean, how low? Like if I'm going to be a buyer of this thing at 15, then I'm going to buy it at 17 a little bit anyways, and get back into my position and, see if we can't make this thing resist this 15 level. But there's a bunch of different names, man. We talked about it over and over again. You're seeing now Bitcoin rally back to the high side now as well, and that gets a little turmoil when the market starts acting up a bit. So you see Bitcoin back today. That's a good sign for us. And then you talked about some of the banks. Let's check in on Apple right now. I mean, a lot of people saying that, they're losing their shirt and this and that. And, trading stocks, unfortunately, if you watch some shows, they tell you that stocks only go up, but in reality, stocks do actually go down at some point, and then you got to figure out, how low is low. And I just think, even here with Apple, we've never even broke this 108, 110 level since the split. And again, this chart is ridiculous because it doesn't adjust for pre-splits. But down here to 116, we didn't even drop too much here on Friday, like 118, 119. So I think you just got to, if you're going to stick with some of these bigger guys, Microsoft, Facebook's, Apple, the GEs of the world, some of the banks, you're going to be fine. There's not much happening. But if you go into some of the higher flyers, like we've talked about NEO and some of the, the names that have been going crazy over the last little while, then yeah, you're going to take a little bit of a haircut here as portfolios get rebalanced, and who knows where the next drop is going to come from. But I would be a buyer, man. I mean, we'll see what happens with Viacom, but I'm still a buyer with Viacom here. It's down huge, and we'll just see what happens. Let's check out the imbalance locator quickly. There wasn't anything on it. Viacom, of course, a NASDAQ stock. So right now we just have TME. I'm short, 23 cents in the money, but right now it does show a bid. We only have 30% of that position left. And as we go. So not much here on the imbalance locator to start with. There's NEO, once again, a sell. A big level at $34 on NEO. We'll talk about that when we get done with Mark.
Yeah, the automakers back on there as well this morning. Remember on Friday we were talking about some production shutdowns over the weekend because of the ongoing chip shortage. Speaking of, Mark Roberts, president of Sun Lake Strategies, joining us as per usual on a Monday. Good morning, Mark. Hope you had a nice weekend. Let's jump right into this, because what a mess that was on Friday. Obviously, these giant share blocks being offered across multiple different names. Just give us your take on what this means. We don't see it very often, but when it does happen, obviously the market's going to move.
These are big spread items for the banks, whether it's a JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley. I think you're going to end up finding out over the next few days how all this plays out. Viacom, to see a stock drop like that over the last week or so, it is rather mind-boggling at best. I think the stock's going to have more trouble today, certainly in the fallout. Again, it's always the uncertainty. So I'm getting my pencil ready here if it should dip below 40 again. I think you'd be fine buying some stock. I wouldn't be chasing it for a day trade, but for a long-term investment further down, it looks good. The banks, Goldman, Morgan Stanley, a bit lower, I'd be a buyer.
What about Credit Suisse? I was going to ask you about, obviously, Credit Suisse, the entire group under pressure here, but they seem to be the worst off.
Yeah, I would stay away for the moment. If you have some edge, midday or near the end of the day and want to do a day trade, that's fine. But for the moment, I want to stay away because there's more uncertainty. But the Goldmans and the Morgan Stanleys I'm more comfortable with.
Yes, more to come, so we'll stay tuned as far as this issue goes. Let's update our Suez Canal issue from back at the end of last week. I was just reading, apparently they got the ship swung around one way and then wind came in and took it back around. So now the canal's blocked again. It's not blocked. Where are we with this?
Buy toilet paper.
Right. When all else fails.
We keep reading about over the weekend is that your basic consumer goods are going to go through another, as we would call it, a COVID rush. And unfortunately, the supply chains will be clogged for the very short term. There's no way of getting around it. The other way these ships can go is around the Horn of Africa, much longer, much more dangerous, and it's a bad situation.
I was reading on the weekend, yes, much longer to go that route. Yes, there is some danger involved, but, if you're sitting there waiting for the same amount of time, at some point they have to kind of, make that call and get things kind of rolling again if this is going to take long, but we shall see. Give us a general thought here. I want to look at the overall market, but give us a general thought on sentiment going into the end of the quarter. This is the last trading week of the month.
Right. So good, bad, or indifferent, every quarter you get a rebalancing. Some of the major brokerage houses put out their numbers. There's been a very large for sale general number out there the last week or two. I don't think that's quite finished yet. Some of it obviously got exhausted on that rally on Friday. But I think the pressure is still on, down anywhere between where we are at 39.42 on the S&P, down 100 points. It's going to be a tough call how this all plays out today and perhaps tomorrow.
Hey, Mark, good to see you again. It should be a good week. Well, hopefully an exciting week. I mean, certainly. Going back to that rally, if we can first on Friday, right? Because that was pretty incredible. You're able to get the markets all the way back to those highs. Now, at the absolute, if you look at the bottom on Viacom and your discoveries right at that same moment, how much did those names finding a bit of a bottom possibly contribute to the turnaround that we saw in the afternoon, in your estimation? Because it kind of felt like one thing certainly led to another, and then relieved a lot of pressure, and the market just it's almost a capitulation in the other direction in the face of what was just almost unprecedented throughout the day.
There's always that chain reaction. There's no question whether the Viacoms went first or whether or not the general buy programs went in and traders saw that opportunity. One will never know, but I would imagine it was certainly a large chunk of buying that came into those names. Look, they got down to a level that was almost obscene, and there was no reason for them not to try to bounce.
So, speaking of levels that are almost obscene, I want to go back to one thing, because there was some joking around on the. I mean, not really joking around, but there's some discussion when we were in the afternoon on the floor talking about Viacom here, and specifically this name, and like 35, 40. Now 40 ended up happening, but I mean the last time Viacom spent any length of time in less than a 5% range was like 2 months in 30. It was like a 30. I want to call it like 35 to like 40, maybe like a 39 area. And that was late last year into January. So the question becomes, if that's the price here that makes sense to me. My first thought was, if you like this and you don't think that things have changed, you should be essentially looking to buy something in front of that 40 range, and 35 is the hard bottom. But it's hard to look at this chart and say, well, if you like it, why wouldn't you pick up some now? Does any of that have to do with your thoughts on how the last week of this month and of the quarter will play out for that level of patience? Because does it matter if you put 10% or a quarter in at 44 if you were going to add at 40 and maybe at 38 anyways? What's your take there? Because I heard you say be a bit patient.
Yeah, it's a question of whether or not you want to be stretched into that entertainment space. If you look at all of the players in this area, there is absolutely an overabundance of names, whether it's Netflix or Disney or the like. The problem is, how do you pick and choose? I look at it this way. I only have so many hours in the day, and I also only have 2 eyeballs. So Viacom got stretched as people were rushing in initially for that entertainment space. And I think it was a combination of 100 different things, but it was just overvalued completely. At this point, you're probably in valuation, but now it stumbles a bit until it finds its moment, if you will.
Okay, that makes some sense to me. And then when we talk about the banks, we obviously don't know exactly how this is going to play out. Certainly you can look at any name you want here. I happen to be looking at Morgan Stanley because that's that's the last one I've added into myself. I'm not selling it, but I look at this cluster that we're basically going to get into right now. It's about 74.5 to like this 76, 77 range. And I was sort of just off the top of the show mentioning, if things got any crazier and we actually did head anywhere near this like 68, 69, I mean, that would just be absolute gold. But I mean, if we level off this week, your thoughts on adding early? Because I was sort of thinking, well, if you're in the name already, you might as well be patient. But if you weren't, let's imagine you missed the rally in banks for a second here. Do you already like it today?
Oh yeah, I would be scaling into this, trading at 76, 77 area right now. I would scale from 76 down into maybe 72, and pray I don't get to 72. But if I do, that's a great situation.
Awesome. And before we get you out of here, I know we always steal a lot of your time. You do a fantastic job for us. Any names in particular that you might be watching just this week, or something we haven't mentioned that's caught your radar that you like?
Yeah, there's a few here. Not your household names, but I'm looking at Lululemon, Nike, Marriott. I'm looking at CVS Pharmacy. I'm looking at Carrier, who does the air conditioners, CARR, and I'm looking at LUV.
And of course, Lulu in particular, reporting this week. So definitely got to watch out for them. Adding them to my list. We talked about that name, certainly a good one. And Nike was a fantastic, I think, opportunity to buy on a little bit of weakness here. Mark, as always, fantastic job. Best of luck throughout the trading week. I think we're in for a little bit of volatility, especially in some of those names that we've mentioned. Your Viacoms and the banks for sure, which I'll be watching heavily. But thanks as always, Mark. Best of luck.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a good week.
You too.
Let's have a look at upgrades and downgrades for Monday. As we mentioned, holiday shortened week. We'll have a look at a few of the names that we've been talking about this morning on this board. Viacom, bottom left. If I can, I don't know why that's not showing, but that is not the right direction. Viacom CBS upgraded there, $48. You can see Carrier, as Mark was talking, at the top end of the board. These two, though, Credit Suisse and Nomura on here. JP Morgan with a price target cut. Credit Suisse, Bank of America with a price target cut. Guys.
I mean, it's about time. Look, we're gonna have to look at Viacom no matter what. I just want to bring up that it was on and is our number one stock here. We'll go through the watch list in a minute. If you haven't signed up, tradertv.live, come over here. You get it completely for free. You get all of our Twitters and everything here as well. Viacom, Credit Suisse, Boeing, 10 Cent Music. I just flashed out of 10 Cent Music there, took the profit and ran away, got out for flat where we got in and took a bunch of profit down below. I still love this 22 level on 10 Cent Music as we go. I'm still in Mogo, and I took out some, I'm out of 2/3 of DraftKings right now here for 40 cents and then 50 cents. So we'll wait to see how high, or sorry, we're long at 79. So that was, that's 20 cents and that's 50 cents. So we'll wait to see how high DraftKings goes, and then we still got Mogo on the watch. But let's start going through our watch list here. 8:52, sign up for tradertv.live. You get our watch list, you can play along with us right now.
The link right now, guys. We can have a look at that. There you go. If you need to register, that's where you have to go to register for our absolutely free every single morning watch list and morning note. Talks about all the names that are moving in the pre-market and why. Register with an email, register with a Facebook account, whatever you want, Gmail account. This is not going away. There we go. Thank you, guys. So yeah, if you need that link, Valeria will help you out in the chat. Let's have a look at Viacom, CBS. Again, if you're joining us right now, you missed a lot already this morning. And back on Friday, this Archegos hedge fund had to liquidate some of its positions. That's why we saw those big, massive, million-plus share chunks of shares on offer on a number of names, including Viacom. There's Discovery as well. We can have a look at DISCA. Guys, what do you think of Viacom here?
Yeah, like it's one thing to say. It's a little bit hindsight to make this point, but the type of selling that you saw on Viacom, the way it would sell into some of the little pops here where you expect a bit of a rubber bound bounce, it now makes a heck of a lot more sense because any kind of strength, and this was just getting chewed up. And there was an unreal seller, and this is probably the reason why I started too early, didn't work out, because there was a big, massive seller at 52. I came in today thinking that's what the test that we're going to have, like it would be breaking this 50 and then trying to push into that 52, but it's already shown some weakness here in Viacom. Do levels matter? Probably not as much. I think to the upside, I'm going to care more about some of the levels than trying to bottom pick unless it's literally that $40, 41 area that you saw at the low. So I have this 50. Rounded off here. If it pushes into 50 and we get any kind of a rollover, that's going to be my first look. The close was at 48.25 on Viacom, so I think it could run into a little bit of pressure there. The bottom was about the same time for every single one of these names, although Viacom just looked like a bit of the leader there. And I did have that GSX as well, which I'm going to be trading. It was the difference between GSX and Viacom specifically is that name was a little more heavily shorted and seemed to be a very, very weak name in the space. It's a Chinese name. And I think those could trade a little bit differently and maybe a little more weak relative to Viacom and Discovery. But 50 is a monster level for Viacom if it gets there. Otherwise, 48.25 is what I'm looking for to be a seller in front of.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at this bottom here, it's already up 20%. Like if you take, I mean, not that anybody would have been long. I mean, I think that's a great long opportunity. If you look at a daily chart here for Viacom was 40, and we talked about that. And I don't know if we ever see that again, That was a monster move. And you do get those opportunities in the market. That's why I think it's important to follow us and make sure that you're always watching. Even if you don't like Viacom, I mean, even building into some longs, I bet you a lot of hedge funds and whatnot were buying, the sell side. I mean, how else do you do it? So I think that there was some bouncing opportunities. Forget about this 52. I mean, we'll probably get there soon. So there's that opportunity. But then also just in here between 44 and 46, it only halted it halted on the way down a couple times, but on the way back up, it halted here 43. What price was this exactly? Let's say 43.50. I mean, I was in this halt. I was long at this times and it opened at 40. There it is. So 44.08. So, you do have some interest levels here that I'm going to be looking at for sure. 43, I wrote down 43, and then I wrote down 50. So there's really only two levels. If I'm interested in this stock and it falls to 43, then obviously I'll just continue to buy it until we see what happens again at this 40 level. But I mean, to die on a sword for for Viacom is not going to be happening. I think it's a big rebound play today. So just watch out. I mean, it's already 20% from that bottom. You did get that blowout top. And then remember, they also did a share offering. So that was part of the story. Yeah, I don't know. Now my chart's not loading back on Viacom, but that was part of the story way before. Maybe it's because it was too high up. I don't know. Anyway, this is not an accurate chart, but the point is Viacom's been all the way down here for a few days. So we did top off huge, and then I'll clear the cash, and hopefully we'll get back to this daily chart. Like Viacom looks like an IPO on this chart here, Brendo.
All right. Yeah, we were talking about share offering at 85, and now 43 is the topic this morning. Let's go to the other end of the story. Credit Suisse coming out on I guess the hardest hit as far as the banks are concerned when we talk about margin calls and defaults on margin calls, now down 14% on the morning. Just made a new day low there, guys, heading down towards 11 here for CS.
Yeah, the thing about Credit Suisse is, look, it's in 700,000. It's not always going to be a day trading stock. This might be the one day we actually look at it. Well, I should never say never, but the reason I was looking at Morgan Stanley, we mentioned Goldman Sachs, is if I have to see where the dust settles, I'd rather pick one of those up that I like a little bit better. Credit Suisse in this hand, we happen to know that, of course, their involvement in the pain that they're going to be under. They are getting into, and if you sort of go back far enough, you can look at this this $11-ish range, I guess, is a little bit of something. Heavily traded in Europe as well. So if you're going to be trading it here in New York, just keep in mind it's not going to necessarily always be the best way to express this kind of a trade. I would prefer to play the individual names which got liquidated here because I think the risk to reward is going to be better than in a Credit Suisse. I do see this like 1145 to 1150 area for a bit of a similar thing to what I was just showing in Viacom, where if you get any kind of a bounce, it's much like that 50 level on a Viacom. There's just no way. I mean, we're 8 million shares in Viacom. We traded 700,000 here in the New York pre-market in Credit Suisse. I just don't see any way that this is going to be the best place to go. I also don't think it's the financial company that you want to pick up if it goes down any further. I think there's going to be some better buying opportunities, like you mentioned with Mark there. So I'll be looking Viacom. I'm trading that BSX. We'll probably also be having a look at maybe your Baidus of the world. But Credit Suisse, probably mostly a no-fly zone for me today.
Let's just check out here. AMC, yeah, so like I don't even, like Neil was saying, 700,000 shares, that's decent. It should be decent, but it's not even on the board here today. So this is a Credit Suisse. This is a New York stock, and I don't see anything here for Credit Suisse. So for me, yeah, I mean, we're right back at those levels. Like Neil was saying again, I think it's better, to start building a position long if you did like the portfolio management side of things. And you can pick up some Credit Suisse. We're all the way back to October levels. I mean, Viacom's not even back. Like Viacom only went back to, I think, December levels, something like that. So now you have Credit Suisse back down to right here, which is November 10th-ish levels of 11 and change. And then, if you ever get a gift down to 950, I mean, that's a buy for sure. Down here at 10 is a buy. But we'll see what it's going to be like for a day trade. I'd rather everything just settle down here, and then we'll see if Morgan Stanley cooperates to the long side. We would prefer that. So let's just wait to see if my charts load. Let's wait to see what happens here. I might log out of this version and into another one. We'll see what happens here on open with some of these banks. I don't think it's worth stepping in until we see where the real big money comes in.
All right, let's have a look at the overall market. We'll bring Arun in here and check out the futures, see what level we need to be aware of as far as the market is concerned. I mean, lots of negativity on individual names, Arun, but going into the end of Friday, record highs for the S&P.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. It could be polar opposites too. One side, you've got hedge funds and individual names. They've got their own thing going on. And the futures market took off the range top on Friday. Now, when you have a range top taken out like that, it kind of technically sets up a big window of opportunity, because as we come back now in, so what I mean when we take the range top, I'm talking 39.45. That was the high of the range that we've been playing with for over a week, maybe a week and a half almost. Now, if we take out the top like that, as fast and as aggressive as that was, now there's a lot of potential when you come back in. So as you come back in, you're going to expect to find some buying around those previous range highs as previous sellers are looking to get out. Given how fast and aggressive it was on Friday, I would expect some support around this area. It seems like pre-market, we are finding some support below 39.50 into the 45s and into the 39.40s as well. I'm open to finding some longs all the way down to 39.15. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I want to go in long right now, because there is some selling above 55 as well. I just don't know how strong it is. So I'm not going to step in at 39.45, knowing that maybe if we go 5-10 points, we're going to find some selling again. So I'd rather see what we do if we can get underneath 39.40. If we can still find some buying, there should be some, but if we can still find some buying and set it up properly, then I think we have a potential to find a long there around underneath 40, 39.40, going all the way down to 39.15. Now, if we break 15s, it becomes a technical mess. At that point, I will have to reevaluate exactly what I want to do. But for now, 39.40 going down to 39.15, that's the first play. Now, if we expand above 70, which seems to be about 65 or so is the high, 67 or something like that was the high. If we expand above 39.70, I think at that point, you just have to let it go, and 4,000 becomes a magnet. So that might take some time. We might get there by the end of the month, maybe not, but that becomes a magnet, because once you get up above the most recent high, the biggest round number, which is 4,000, is right around the corner. So I'd keep an eye on that as well. So trade accordingly, and just play a little tight after it gets above the top. But if it comes back in, I think you find some potential buys underneath 39.40.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning, guys. We're under 30 minutes until the market opens on a Monday. Let's talk about Boeing. More positivity here this morning for Boeing. Southwest expanding with a new contract and a new order for 100 airplanes and options for 155 additional planes. Boeing now saying that's across 2 different models. Boeing now saying they could build as many as 600 737 MAX aircraft by 2031, Sean. We've been mentioning this over the past week or so.
Yes, we have. I am downloading the new software as we speak, so I have nothing to show you guys.
I got it.
But yeah, I'm going to throw it to Neil. But look, I've been talking about this for a very, very long time here, guys. I thought Boeing should have been huge, should have been a big buy for anybody's portfolio. I had it up on our, that poll that I had: Tesla, DraftKings, Palantir, and Boeing. More to come. And we don't like. The relationship with China is severed right now. I thought, with new president, new regime, the Democrats, that they would sort of bind that, Chinese relationship a little bit better. As we've seen, there wasn't really one with the former administration. So I had really thought that a lot of these buys would be coming from the Chinese side, but it appears that U.S., coming through. AAL, Southwest, everybody lining up here to buy more 737s and more of everything. So I think it's great for Boeing. I also think it's great for GE. I'll be back hopefully with a new client in a second.
Yeah, and just to have a quick look at the chart, we have gotten a bit of a pullback. So, if you didn't sell at the top, there was that double top 245. We're now pulling back right into a little bit of that range. So consolidation here actually sets up pretty well for Boeing to make a second run to the top. And if you sort of believe in the, and as I do, believe in the secondary push by the cyclicals, basing out here would make some sense on Boeing. Now, I actually took some off, 175 long into 250, and that was to get into GE on a dip. So I would say you buy either one on weakness. I don't know that that's going to come today, so you're probably looking for this consolidation, and then like 250. Just in terms of a day trade here, guys, just go to Friday's top here. It's about this 250 area. We have gone higher than that in the pre-market, but there is a decent shot that you could get another 250 retracement here. I mean, I know the market's down on the session, but you want to file away some names that show some strength. Just in case we do get a nice little bounce in the market, and I would like that Boeing through that 250. The only downside is I do not take Boeing in the pre-market. We have 25 minutes to the open, and this is level 2. We're basically, right here. That order is almost on the offer at that 250 mark. So I'd much prefer there be some sell action, and then you can play into some weakness at that 250 level on Boeing. But any kind of a serious dip, I'd be a buyer in this name, or buy back into it, I guess, or buy more back into it would be the way to look at it from a longer-term perspective. And as Sean mentioned, whether it's your GEs, your Boeing, Caterpillar is probably worth a look. I haven't checked that out today. Or infrastructure is going to be the name of the game too, because Biden's going to be pushing that through. So your U.S. Steels, all those names could be very, very strong cyclical names.
All right, just keeping my eye on this Mogo, guys. Mogo with news as well, up significantly once again, now 20%. We mentioned off the top there, they launched a cashback mortgage product that's linked to Bitcoin. 10-cent Music, big mover on Friday as well, got caught up in that Archego liquidation as well. It's up 5% in the pre-market. They also announced a $1 billion share buyback program as well. So if there is one showing a little bit of strength and one in that group, I'm referring to those media stocks, some of the Chinese stocks included in that from that sell-off on Friday. This one definitely relatively strong, guys.
Yes, I mean, the sort of 1 billion shares will certainly do that to you. Now, it's going to seem like hindsight. We talked about this. Look, when Tencent started that sell-off, it's like somebody knew something was going to happen. Rolling over from 32, they actually had solid earnings going into this. To get cut in half like that is pretty unique. But I mean, as we saw, that's actually not as much of a drop as what you saw in Viacom. Viacom dropped certainly further than this. The BSX dropped like 42%, or GSX dropped 42%. So Tencent Music getting cut in half was sort of in the middle of that range on that pullback. If one is going to be strong, I kind of think it might be this name here. You look at this 22 area though, and that's sort of like this obvious line in the sand. And it's going to be a little bit closer than the play in Viacom at $50, which I'm not even sure. It's at 46 right now, a little harder for it to get there. We're 23 pennies off of that 22 high in 10-cent Music. If it fails on a break of 22, and I would kind of mean it tries to get to this, you call it like this, not Friday, but the Thursday afternoon temporary bottom, and very temporary at lunchtime, at 22.50. So if it can't get through 22.50 off an open break of 22, yeah, then it's probably a retracement sell. But if one of these names I think has a shot to break out, I put my money on 10-cent Music. It's probably the first one that if I had to buy higher in terms of buying a breakout, it's probably the first one, just given the fact that it's so close to that 22.50. And there's some obvious areas, like if you can't get through that chop, you can quickly take that one out. Whereas we're 10% away from being able to take a Viacom breakout at 50, so it's much more likely you're buying on extreme dip, and in which case I'd want to be selling into that dip. So for me, 10-cent music, I'm going to look at it through that 22 range. That could be a quick little breakout trade. Again, if any of those go wrong alongside, I wouldn't be sitting there holding them forever or averaging in because you know there are sell orders that are very, very likely to come into the market. Just keep in mind, a lot of times when big institutions want to do one thing off of the open, the first move can initially be the other way. Just don't get caught in the reversal. That's the key.
Look, I love the 10-cent music break at 22. That's why we got out. We killed the short. We got out, and that's it. So now we'll re-envision this. We are having some chart problems. So as our data provider gets loaded up here, hopefully we get back. And it didn't matter what version I went into. So we'll see here. Hopefully our chart can go. I have another platform. Okay, so this is that Mogo trade. So we did go long on a 10 break. You can see right here, we did get some out at 10.20, right at that top. The first time, was excited. Okay, here it goes. You get a big move up from 880 all the way up there on this mortgage news. I'd have no idea if Mogo even has any clients or anything like that. So I don't think this is going to be a record-breaking thing. I am just using it back down here, 880, 890, kind of this high. I mean, I know we were higher on Friday, but looking at this to get out. So if it breaks back down through 880, it's a very, very small position. I don't take large positions in the pre-market. You guys know that. I used to take bigger ones. If it's something like an AMC or something, really that we can trust some of the different levels and that we know there's going to be liquidity there. But, like this drops there, that's 10%, right, from the high, 10, 20, all the way down to 9, 10. So that's not something that I would like to be in if I can't get out. So we're going to use this 8, basically where VWAP is here, 880, 890, but it's right at this top too, 880. So if it falls back down below, if I was debating getting some more, if it touched 9, I did have an order there, but then I canceled. It would not have hit me anyways, but that's Mogo there. And then guys, like TME, again, my chart's not working, but I mean, how good does this look at 22? I mean, this has to be taken here. It's bounced off 22 a couple times. If we go back, just a little bit here to the destruction on Friday that we talked about, 21 was sort of the top, so we never even got a chance to get up there. And right now you're building a little bit of a consolidation between that 21 and 22 level. So it's got to be a hit and run type of thing. Like Neil mentioned, if you get in at 22 and you're able to get it out, 22.50, like anything really. I mean, hold it for as long as you want, but I think you do have a downside look here. At least I got some out here breaking through 21 on my initial trade, so I would think that somewhere around here you could get some resistance again, 21, 2080, 2075, things like that. The close on Friday, 20.25. I don't think we revisit that, but we'll see. 10-cent music is just too strong. It's been a beast of a stock, and it's not the stock's fault that people are caught on this name, right? So I'd be very, very careful shorting TME today.
All right, little fintech, future fintech. I see a few people in the chat talking about this one, guys. Yeah, trading up on news that they bought a whole bunch of these Antminer Bitcoin mining machines. And I mean a whole bunch as in 20,000 of them. So yeah, that's a lot. I'll show you this chart because as Sean was mentioning, ours currently not working or available. So this is the daily chart of FT, 640 up to about $7, guys, looking interesting on FT. This one's been wild to say the least over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's an understatement, but there's obviously been, it's bouncing off some support and heading into, I think, like a little bit of a chop zone. I'm lucky in that like my charts have been okay this morning, but I look at this, I'll go back to the daily for a second. I look at this like $7 area to the upside here, and it's just been a bit of a consolidation range, and there's still some runway to get to that $7 from earlier in the last couple of weeks and that little top. So there is this chance that we can get like a 650 break. It's only done just under 200,000 shares in the pre-market though, so that's not going to be at the top of my list for a breakout when 10 cent's right there and it's done 7.5 million shares. So if I'm taking a breakout long this morning, it's going to be, of course, likely going to be that TME. Of course, it has to break 22 first. FT, that'd be a play that I like a little better. Volume comes in, you get some consolidation, maybe even shake some people out of some longs, and then get a run at that 650. But it does stand out on future fintech, and I think it's certainly going to be worth a look through there. I did mention a couple of times, I just want to show, because I did take out GSX. So I mentioned this name, one of the other ones that got under pressure, just to give you an idea of the sell-off that happened here. But I did notice there was this little level on breakdown. I took 38.50 when it broke. I got some out 38, and then, 37.50, pre-market low. It just made a second bottom at that price, so I decided to cover it. the volume's okay there, but it's a little bit thin. And to be perfectly honest, it's not the name that I wanted to be trading necessarily off of the open. I think we like our Viacoms and our Tencents a little bit better than something like this. So I'd pick it up on a little bit of strength, but I look at Viacom here and it just feels like there's going to be a better shot for an actionable trade. Is it's starting to tighten up its range. So before I was looking at that 48.25 and 50, a little bit of a level forming at 47 as well here on Viacom.
Great run here this morning for BTC. I have Bitcoin up right now. So if you're going to watch FTFT, I mean, what a great bottom of 55. And again, it's been holding, held 55 there again. And it's just trading nice level 55. Now we'll see if it can get back to 60. It's about time that Bitcoin does this. If we go to a daily chart, well, I mean, maybe I can zoom in a little bit more here for you guys. We are still bouncing around. It's between this 50 and 60, so it's just back and forth and around. There's not much happening right now with BTC. It's very, very consistent, very, very stable. I mean, that was a nice run today, like we just mentioned, with a 1 minute chart here. But we did hit that high of 58, so I think we'll probably retest that, especially if the NASDAQ can get going and better feels for the market overall. So I do like that long if we break through 58.5. So watch out for that coming through on Bitcoin, and then we'll see if it can hold. I mean, every 500, that's this grid, right? Every single 500 is this grid mark. So you get back to 57, some hold there. It didn't really care too much about this 57.5 level. So either we get back down to 57 here on Bitcoin, or we take out this 58.5. I wouldn't really trade it in the middle here. So that's just going to be, a play that if you're going to watch an FTFT, even a MOGO like I have, we talked about, it sucks because I can't, unless these charts, I'll keep refreshing maybe. Oh, there we go. Okay. Maybe they're back a little bit here for some of these names. You already see a nice and high move here. So Bitcoin was struggling, and now you're getting up that 7 or 8%. So now you have some high side love for Mara. 39.32 could be a good one. It looks like the charts might be back. 40, 42 highs. Nothing too sexy on that one. Let's check out Riot quickly. 51 and change. Where are we on that? I think that's higher than Mara right now. Charts, maybe they're not. 51 and a quarter, VWAP down here, 50 period, down to 43 and change. Yeah, 52 maybe a decent top spot here for Riot. So let's wait to see. If Bitcoin can get going through 58, this 52 is definitely interesting for me on Riot, guys.
All right, guys, I want to talk about Twitter here, coming off a little bit from pre-market highs. We also had a little bit of news on SOS as well. They announced plans back on Friday for a digital asset exchange. Keep that in mind as well. SOS pretty strong here in the pre-market. Digital assets, NFTs. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit as well. Twitter, guys. Yeah, Truist Securities increasing their price target by $10. There's no other real significant news surrounding Twitter, but it is coming off from pre-market highs already.
It's interesting. I saw someone in the chat. I actually answered them asking about when support levels get broken, do they turn to resistance, and vice versa. As Twitter broke the last Thursday and Friday's top at 62, and then pulls right back into 62. So, I mean, that theory is going to get tested in a quick second here off of the open in Twitter. And I looked at Snapchat, actually, just to confirm that it was a very, very similar sort of setup that I was watching here today. What I like about this is if you do get a test, I'm just showing you Friday's close as well in the 1 minute chart. If you do get a push down through 62, I think there's a real opportunity, if you get into the 61 to 61.25 for a bit of a scalp trade. Like it breaks 62, flushes some people out off of the open, and then on that little relative strength, you can pick some up for that little scalp from 61 to 61.25, and maybe back into that 62 range if it turns out to be further resistance on that little bit of a break. Now, we are, of course, trading slightly down in the market. This is a good place, and I threw Snapchat in there just because I happened to notice that it was about the same area of strength. So you want to have some names. We already talked about Boeing that are relatively strong on a session that you can go to if the market bottoms or if you find yourself too heavily short in some of these other weak names here. Twitter's going to be on my list, Snapchat as well. But the 62, had we been testing the high of the day, at that particular time, I was actually looking to see if we could have caught a bit of a breakout through 63, but it was a bit of a fail break in the pre-market. Now we've already dipped back down and testing that 62 support. So I don't like that breakout anymore now that it's shown some weakness, as Brendan mentioned. It would probably have to dip into that 61.26 close that we saw on Friday for me to get interested in Twitter again. But after 15 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes of the open, we can play that range and then see what materializes after that.
Yeah, from one social media stock to another. I mean, I've been preferring Facebook for a trade. Twitter's been really good too, though. Oh man, we have this wick downside. Look at this, just collapsed in the afternoon. We saw everything completely collapse. There goes 10 cent music. We take a shot here through 22.
What?
Oh, come on,
No.
charts. Is that going to load? We take a shot here through 22 now on TME. So long 22 right here on TME, decent position. Let's see how high. Okay, let's see how high this one wants to fly. I mean, no real levels again on TME. We'll see if we get some out here at 10. If it does want to break through 10, there we go. So a nice little win already, man. Dap it up. In 22, out 10s there for a little bit. Now we'll wait to see if we can get a little higher move here on TME back. If we do some work on TME here, there was nothing, right, back a couple days ago. So we know that this stock is going to be a flyer. Here's a 20-minute chart. So this is 22. There's that break that we like. You do have some consolidation. Let me see if I can bump this up here. Have some consolidation around 22. This is that top that I was talking about. 2250 would be nice to get some out. That's actually 2260. That's 23. And then the rest is history to the upside if it does go. You did have a pretty epic hold down here at 21, as you guys know. And this is why, you got to have that in your toolbox to be able to reverse. So we were short here, breaking through 2150. We like that. Out, 2120. Out 2117, out 2117 again, then out for flat on the break back above VWAP. So now it's coming back in. So we take that 22 break. Now we're going to have to watch to see what it does right here at 20, like 2120. 2080, like we'll take $1 hit on this. That's fine. We've already showed you what upside we like on TME. So check back in on the imbalance. That might have been an imbalance locator thing. Yeah, see, up to 1.9 million. So wow, almost, going to be 2 million soon. I like TME. I've liked it for a bit. But again, we can't get too comfortable because we know that there's monster sellers. I mean, people are already saying there's 50 more million shares to sell of this thing, but they do have a billion share buyback. So let's wait to see what does happen, or $1 billion or billion share. I'll have to double check that.
Billion dollars.
$1 billion US, but billion shares would be nice. A billion share buyback here. So let's wait to see if it does resist. We'll pick a little bit more up here, 2120, but I'm not going to give it past this 2184, so whatever it was.
All right, guys, let's go to Baidu, another one that was caught up in this mess on Friday, getting sold off pretty hard. Another one that's holding up relatively strong here, heading towards the open. What are we, 9 minutes now to go here before we get the market open? Baidu, guys, what do we think of that one?
I just picked up some more shares in that 10 cent, by the way, but looking at that 2160 area, 2150 to 2160, you want to hold these to the open if you can, but I'll trim it if it looks like it's getting a little bit too ugly. I just think there's so much room to that downside. Baidu, and I think maybe this falls for the other, I was trading in GSX because I thought there'd be some weakness, relative weakness in that particular Chinese name, but I would also think that Baidu could be one, and these charts are all going to look the same. You look at the Friday top, it's like 209 area. That's what I have written down, 209, and then a 213.50, which is 260 actually technically, which is a pre-market high. It just feels like there's going to be a lot of these types of breakout style plays for you here. I wanted to trade GSX to the south side because if it was going to be one of these that I would trade long, in addition to 10 cent, it was probably going to be something along the lines of a Baidu. I don't love it. Here's the problem. I don't think I want to take a breakout long in any one of these names when I'm already holding one. So if I'm already in 10 cent here on the long side, if I was already in Viacom, or if I was long GSX, I don't know that it makes any sense to necessarily double down on a breakout in Baidu, and then all of a sudden they both go the other way on you and you're looking pretty ugly, especially when it would have to rally like $4 into that break and you're buying in the heels of a $4 move to the upside. So I like the level in Baidu. I think you really do have to watch out for 205. If that can't hold, it looks like a heck of a short, just because you have right back to this consolidation area right here at the 209, 210, and then the room to the downside is just absolutely tremendous. So as much as I'm in 10 cent and it's trying to hold this 60 area right now and sort of failing at it, I'm gonna have to trim some because it just broke that 60. So I'm trimming like 2/3 of it right off here. Just I want to be able to hold some, and I can't do that if I'm have too many shares. But Baidu for me, it'll probably be a fade through that 205. I don't like the breakout long if I'm already holding 10 cent.
Yeah, I'm just going to do the same kind of thing, just focus on the stocks that I'm already in. So 10 cent for me is not a sell until I just mentioned it. I said 21.84, but it was the bottom was 20.84. The very bottom this morning, it looks like 20.80. So you can use that. I think I'll just use that as my support and even maybe just bump it a little bit lower to 20.50 just in case that does blow. But I do have bids all through, so we'll wait to see on that one. Mogo coming back a little bit here. We're long at 10, so we did withhold a little bit. We've only taken profit on it, but I do think it comes back. Mind the charts, guys. We were missing data on a couple names. You know that. So we're going to get ready to rock and roll with only a few more minutes to go, man. If you want to pick up a solid Chinese name, I know, Brendan, you just talked about Baidu. I think that's pretty solid as well. And I love some Alibaba, which I think at these prices, we've already visited down here when they kidnapped Jack Ma. But right now, you're going to see it's already back right to these levels of concern for me. And by levels of concern, I mean it's just these are buying levels for me, and I need to watch out to see if we do break below, this 170 or so on Baba. I don't see why. There's probably no more solid business. I mean, 10 cents huge, Baba's huge, and you know what? Is they can just get the People Republic of China, they're the PRC, like out of the way here, and CCP and some of the legal and threats, I guess, basically, that they're giving their people and the Western world, then I think we'll be fine. They still flew those 20 fighter jets over Taiwan last week. So, anyways, it's not a show about that. It's just I think some of these Chinese names have been beat down a little bit here, and you can start adding some to your portfolio as you see fit, guys. And I would pick Baba and Baidu. I think those are the two best names. And hey, if you like 10 cent music too on this dip, why not? I mean, I think it's a function of market right now, not of company-specific issues. So I'm all over that. DraftKings now 20 cents in the money and still ripping to new highs. We're still long right here, 63.60. That looks like that's going to go. I still have targets like upside here. Honestly, man, 64.65, 65.50 on DraftKings. Let's see. I'm going to put an order right there, right now. 65.30 or so. See if we can't take a smooth $1.80 on this trade.
All right, guys, great to see so many people joining us for the Open on a Monday. A couple minutes to go here before we get to the market open. We're ever so close to 200,000 subscribers on YouTube. Make sure you take a second and hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel if you are joining us for the first time. We do this every single morning that the market is open. The producer has said, this is still sitting here, producer has said we don't get to enjoy that until we get to 200,000, so help us out. And hit subscribe, guys. So I just wanted to show you one more little one. Bottom end of the watch list this morning, SEAC, 30% here still to the upside. A little software company getting a new contract. There's 30 support, and then you go to the daily chart, 45, 50 resistance. So we're just stuck in this range. Probably not going to do much with this until we get either out of the 50 or below 30, guys, on SEAC.
Yeah, and a little further down on the list as well, you're going to see Universe Pharmaceuticals. There are a few Chinese pharma stocks that are up with not really any news. CPHI is one of them. I tried and failed at a short in UPC, but CPHI was a little bit weaker. So I still have some shares at 67, but it's just creeping off this 135 low. I was able to get some of the shares out. My best shorts were about a 30 to 35 cent win. I did have multiple entries in this range, so it's a bit of an average price in there. Got some at 71, but my last entry was at 67. It's now starting to creep back up. So we're at 150. I think a test of this 175, 180 like I had in the pre-market is likely in store here, so I will not be averaging into this short position. I'll be waiting to see if we do get a test higher, and if it pushes in to that 175, right around where I have the short already, that's where I'd be looking for my first little fade. If it breaks through like an 85, so I just get out because I think we can take a shot in front of 210, 212. Might as well rinse and repeat. Take smaller hits on the way to the upside if you're going to be going counter trend on a few of these names. I also know a lot of you guys are looking at that HGEN. This is one that I don't know, I kind of stuck away from it because it was really trending right off of that high of the session at 24.50. It has made a bit of a double bottom through 21. So if this breaks 21, I'm just going to go short off the open if it can break it through a 21 range. For a $20 stock, that's 350 from bottom to top of this little move here. Like 21 support and then 24.50 at a pre-market high. So you're probably not really all that wrong unless you go $1.50 against you. So keep that in mind. As much as it is a $20 stock, it's got a wide range today. But I look at that 21 a break, and I pretty much have to have it. Trim 10 cents so I can hang on to it. My dip buy was at 75, but I got a small amount of, like Sean, same thing at that 22 break, and then took the rest off when it couldn't hold, and then got back some in at 75. So into 10 cent. looking at HGen through that 21 break, won't reload CPHI until around that high 60s 175 mark. And of course, I'll be looking at GSX, which is, wow, right at that low of the day. I don't know if that one I don't want to punch until he opens. I'm not taking the short on that one through the low until at 9:30.
Okay, quickly in on this. You guys want to see the imbalance locator? Here it is. Just right now, Naked Brands sell, SNDL sell, Intel sell. The big guy, Microsoft to buy, AMAT IQ, just so you guys can have a quick look. This is the NASDAQ locator right there. Bye-bye. Let's call up the New York imbalance quickly. Tencent with a big bid on. We still have that stock. We did buy some more down here in the 70s. So VIP's another one that's on watch now. NEO's on watch. NEO, watch out for 34. I'm buying ahead of 34, and we'll get absolutely out of that if that cracks through 34. Other than that, man, so that's what we're going with. NEO, if you want to look, there's a big level. 34 bounced like crazy. Shout out to Greg, who actually had the bottom of this, but the wrong way. He was short there on that break and then absolutely took off. It was a beautiful trade to the short side until it didn't work, and then a monster move back up. So we're going to watch out for that. We do know there's some buyers down there. However, that's when the market turned. So,
it was that stock was NEO at 34. You had AMC at $10 at the same time. You had Tesla at 600. So you could have almost picked your poison. Though NEO was probably the best buy off of those levels. That's why I think it makes sense to point it out, Sean.
Yep, thank you. Okay, so that's NEO. Yeah, good call there. And just watching Viacom again as it's going to open up to a NASDAQ open, so it should be any time worried about this. I'm buying Viacom 44s, 43s, 42s, all the way down. Let's see if we test that 40. I don't think it does that. Mogo, DraftKings, and Tencent with less than 7 seconds to go. Let's have a big day, guys.
4-3, Miss V on the bell.
Okay, so already, if we go over here to Tencent, so Viacom moving around and open, but if you check Tencent out, it's not open, or maybe it just did open. There was some big size there at 22 on TME. So yeah, okay, so it's still there. Let's just see what happens. There it is, big size there, not huge, but TME looking to go north side right now.
Yeah, and actually a bit of a spike here on NIO. NEO just pushed up to like 35.70. Wow, that's a bit of a big time fade. I mean, I actually thought we'd test down to that 35 range. Market trying to run. It's Tencent that I'm kind of concerned with here because not showing the strength that I wanted to see off that little open, and you get a bounce. But Tencent not really testing the high. If it takes out 2020, I'll definitely have to take some shares off for the trim. That CPHI didn't give me the spike to get into it, but SEAC does look like a good short off the top of that range.
Yeah, we're going to go. Hopefully Tencent can go, man. Our last out was this 21.12 here. We're going to see if it wants to play the game here. We're long and we're still strong. We didn't dump any of it. It was one of the trades that I really liked today. So we're going to hold on to Tencent and see if it goes. Okay, GE's another name here, approaching 13. I do like a 13 break on this name. However, on Friday when that did happen, we only got as high as 08 or 09. Actually, this chart showing 14. I thought this was the high, but I guess no. Oh, that's pre-market high, sorry. So yeah, in the middle of the day, 13.08. So we're going to watch out for 13 to break. Tencent fails again at that level.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of a pain in the butt there. That HGEN, we did get the HGen break, and pie in my face because I don't think we have shortable shares of SEAC. Going to have to pay for those. But we just got that break at 21. We'll see if it can't. Look, if it rounds into the middle here, about 22. That's probably the only place I'd be willing to add. Got to fail at 22.50, and then has to round off around 22 for me to get any more shares into it. TME, look, again, it's going to test 22s here. It's a bit of a misnomer to say that I'm in the money on this trade, like 25 pennies or so, because you got to keep in mind we got a small amount of the breakout out, and I took a bunch of shares off here when it didn't look like it'd hold 2060. So as much as it was in the money at 22, I'm going to hold on for a bit of a deeper push. If this one's going to be the one that goes, like Sean said, you have to give it a little bit more runway. And speaking of runway, GSX looks like I should have hung on to this one. It just popped into 39 and then through the low of the day. If you were shorting this one on any kind of a pop, it's absolutely dying like a quail here. I'll short that one if it gives me another crack at that low day, previous low, 37.50. I'll be short that and long TME at the same time, though.
Okay, yeah, we're going to test out Viacom here as well. TME, yeah, heading to the south side. We have some bids, so we just picked some more up at 50, so that's 21.50. And then just to look back, I have some low 21s bidding as well. And then we'll just see on the sell side. I mean, who knows how high this thing wants to go. I don't have any ideas for a sell side trade, but we just did take some more here at 51. I missed it. I tried to buy Viacom there at 46.50, and I was just, hesitant on doing that, but there goes Viacom right now again out of the upside. There's that 46.50 level. It did dip down to 46.15, so a good opportunity to buy downside on Viacom right now. I still have to say, man, DraftKings, Mogo, and TME. What's up, B?
Yeah, speaking of Mogo, guys, just popped up on a volume scanner there. It did test that top end of the range from the pre-market on the Bitcoin news, 960 the high, guys.
And wow, gates of hell action on that GSX. It just broke that low. Remember I was saying I'll try to get back in when it tested 37.50? Pops in, I get quarters here, 37.22, and then instantly a $1 win on that GSX. So it's the second time it's been this one to the short side. I don't know. It felt like it was such a weak name. I had to have that one heavily shorted as well before all of this mess started. So right there on the daily chart, guys. Just by the way, this one not nearly the same look as your Viacoms, right? Like this is already a weaker stock relative to those, which are just screaming to the upside and giving you buys that actually might have made sense to you. HGen also just got into that one, and another one will go power up on HGen. Of course. Why is it not showing? I'll have to fix my chart here. It's not showing my XD. Oh, that's the daily chart. That's why. Sorry, guys. There's GSX. I'll go to HGen on this chart if I can. It's not flipping. Sean, my chart's frozen.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I'm still watching that 10-cent music here. And then Viacom, damn it, just missed that bid. Darn, that's too bad. DraftKings, though, right now, my order is upside still, man. 65 and change. We're bought here, 63.65, out 63.98, out 64.20, and that's right where we are right now. So a 50-cent win here for DraftKings, not taking it. TME, we're waiting for something to happen here. No idea what's going to happen on TME, but it is basing out right here. It looks like these are solid bases. We've talked about that. I was waiting a little bit lower to get some longs just to see what we do right here at 2070. I want to dump it if it does make it to that spot, but for right now, TME back to the high side, a trade that I'm just sitting on right now. Not much happening. Facebook up pretty big, 1.5. I love that Facebook. Look at this run right now in the market. We're starting to take some out. Facebook's too high. Microsoft, though, I just noticed it did make a dip down to that 235 area. Yeah, there it is. So that 235 could get held. Don't know what that was all about. Up to 237 off open, and then straight back to the downside. Watch for a VWAP break. 235.80 I like on Microsoft.
So now I can show you HGen here. Got in on the 21 break, immediately took some out from 50-cent scalp. Gives you the same price. Thank you so much for getting me right back in at that 21 area. So I'm going to try and get a bid out here in front of 20. There we go. Another little win, about 75 pennies. We've banked 50 cents. We've banked 75. We've got to reload. HGen through 21. I just wanted to see the weakness first, and there's a little bit of a look so I can show you why I like that level as well going into Friday's afternoon bottom. Brendan?
Another one of these Chinese pharmaceutical companies today, guys. UPC, recent addition here on the NASDAQ, worth noting. Big reversal there. Got a huge volume alert above 11. Straight back through $10 for UPC, guys.
And as much as those shorts are working, 10-cent music about to break 21. I just got out of that one, so we'll take the hit, unfortunately. The shorts in GSX, now $2 in the money. The short in HGen working, crushing CPHI, but no luck whatsoever in 10-cent music, guys. That one just continuing to head southbound.
We average into 10 cents, so we're still long now, 21.40. We'll see. We are into Viacom right now as well. We talked about taking that one right here, 46.50. So, I mean, that's right where my order was. So that we got filled, and now we'll see about the upside, man. I don't want to hold this one too much. We'll average in again if we have to the downside, but we are waiting for this. I would much rather, guys, get involved down here, 43, 44, 45, something like that for Viacom, but there it is. I mean, whatever, man. There it is. We'll take out a little win there for VIAC in 56, out right there at VWAP 96. So that's a 40-cent win there for Viacom. Very little shares because this was one of those areas that I didn't love. We'll load up if we get a little bit lower, but hey, we'll take the win for now. Monster position, I think probably the biggest one right now for either of us in 10-cent music, down to 20.80 right now. That was one of our longs. We talked about that. We are going to dump it. There's the high 20.50. We did buy the very bottom there, trying to give it a little bit more room to the downside, and it's paying off. So here it comes right back with a vengeance. Let's get some out, guys. Brendan, what's up?
Another one that was mentioned in this sell-off on Friday, this VIP shops. Apparently there was another huge block being shopped for this one as well. Just flushed through 31, guys, on monster volume VIPS.
Yeah, and look, you're going to see a lot of these names moving around a bit. Try to pick the one that makes sense to you. That's why we sort of focused on a few names that we liked. I like that GSX, and I like that playing in Tencent, and Viacom worth a look. NEO continues this push, and I mean, I sat in here. Let me go back in here. I sat in here trying to catch a bit of a dip back into the open price, and now it looks like you should have tried to get that pre-market top there, or the afternoon top, sorry. But NEO on a big time run, just worth looking at it. Go to the higher time frame. Have a look at this like 36, 66 level, guys. It could be a small turnaround spot. If there's consolidation and maybe a dip, that could give you a potential breakout a little bit later. So just filing away, like not 36.50, which is the current high, but 10, 15 cents higher than that I'm going to be watching. CPHI, I am also in this name. Never gave any kind of a re-entry point. Load up, load up, load up. There we go. Finally. And now absolutely crushing back into the downside. I liked it. I told you guys I liked it at about like high 60s to 70s. It got to 162. So you got to be patient. It didn't hit my level. I know it looks like it was fantastic short sell opportunity, but I gave you that I wanted high 60s, low 70s. So I never got back in. Crushing it in the money right now, about 32 cents again. But unable to add more. Brendan?
All right, big move up in the futures here, guys. Rocket, let's talk about strength, shall we? Big move up for Rocket, 24 to 26. Not seeing news, guys.
Wow, I normally am looking at that one. I didn't have it on the board today, but here it is. I mean, we'll go a little bit right now with Viacom. A nice long here, obviously at 46.50, and now it's touching 48. So we'll probably just take this $1.50 right now, put that in our pocket, and then see. But it looks like it wants to just break higher. But there is an order just resisting here. Yeah, there it is. That 47.70. There was a top order there, what we call an iceberg, where it just kept refilling. So let's get out ahead of that 47.70 again. If it does retest it, we saw it there, yeah, a little late, but 47.70, it was there. So maybe 47.50 we'll get out. We'll take the smooth dollar, and then we'll see if it breaks this high of 48. But here it comes again, 47.70. Let's get out the dollar on Viacom if we can. We did get some out on Tencent, so it's going to get out if we break through that 20.50 level. Like we said, we were able to get a little bit back here on that move, 21.9, 21.10, but we're not going to hold it past this 20.50. So we are getting very, very close right now to a TME tap out situation on that one. Oh, new trade alert again. We'll see. Takes out the top. I like that GE13, but not going to give it too much past this little pre-market level of 1280 or so. So, or 1290, sorry, of GE. So this one wants to come back down. We'll average in a little bit now, but yeah, the market coming in here a little bit. So all the longs not going to be paying off just quite yet, guys.
Yeah, and not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth as you see there. I see a shot at 35. You had a failed break through 35 on GSX. It comes right back down a second time. We'll take the $2 one on that. Be very, very happy to walk away with a successful short. Of course, we were short this one a couple of times in the morning. And if it takes out lows like 34.50, like if it continues to fall through, I'm gonna take breakdown trades every level that I can get them. Keep in mind, every one of these names with short sell is under the SSR rule, right? So hitting that bid is a bit tricky, but if 34.50 can go, I'll try to get the short through there. It's going to be about re-entries for me and taking profits and scalping. Brendo?
Another one strong, guys. Twitter from the watch list. Twitter up 5% here, straight through that 63 top from the pre-market, up to 64.5 for Twitter.
Yeah.
Man, what was that rocket news, man? Like that is just like, I mean, I'm a shareholder. I mean, I've been talking about this stock well before Wall Street Bets and all that stuff. We're long $20 on this name, and I didn't even get any. I got some out mid-30s when it was going crazy. Nothing in the 40s there. But wow, a big move up here on Rocket. Not really certain, but we still know there is still a high shortable interest in this name. So 24 up to 26 and change. Checking on a daily chart. Not going to give you too much love here on the daily, but 26. I mean, I don't know. What is this, 28.20? Still more to go, but Rocket, that seems a little premature there, taking off. So let's see if this one fades back in. I don't want to go short in case there's more to this, but with the market coming back in, no surprise here that maybe Rocket does. Okay, Tencent there does break through 50, and then so there it is back out. Looks like we might have taken the very bottom out there on Tencent. We should have maybe waited to get longer. I think one more long here, testing that 50, probably worth it just in case that was the absolute bottom. What is that, 20.46? Okay, so we'll take another long and get out 20.46 if that breaks. We may have just made the bottom wick there, but that's okay. We can get back in.
You have to be willing to make top or bottom wick regardless of what direction it is. That FTFT, now that there's a bit of an opening range got put in, I said I'd wait around on that 650. I wouldn't take it in the pre-market. I have to own the order. If it breaks 650, I'm taking that to the long side. HGen, someone asked what's the out. If you're talking about in terms of a stop, I now like 21.30 to like 50 as an area stop. Because I'm in profit here and I've taken a couple legs out, I'm already playing with a bit of house money. I'm holding the last of the position. I'd much rather it retest that high to think about either re-entering on weakness or a failed break, or maybe letting it go a little bit farther into that range. If it does break the low, that's $20 right here. I am holding on for dear life, as it looks like it's going to do. Down around to this 19 area. You go back into 7 o'clock. That's where the dip buy went into. So if I can take $3, be very, very happy with that. As there goes Miss V. Thank you guys very much for the likes. Very, very active morning here. Throw me off with that little graphic there. But have to go to Twitter. Unbelievable strength that this is showing. If it gives me any shot at a dip, I'm going to have to try to pick some up off of like a 64 area, at least at first. Should have had this break. Almost inexcusable. Brendo.
All right, Neil, you were talking about GSX. There's another one, EEIQ Elite Education. These ones were going again on Friday. So this just halted downside, still having, looks like some issues with my charts anyways, but EEIQ just halted, guys.
Okay, so new position alert. We're into AMC now, breaking through 1050. Let's see how high. It does go to 10, 60, 10, whatever. We're going to get a little bit out there on that what goes. And F you, really, honestly, man. We got to have a little bit better hands here for TME because, damn it, like we just took that bottom, but thank God we're right back into the money now, back up to $21. So, like I said, long again, but not making back everything. I wish we could, but we'll make back a little bit here, breaking through 21. AMC, okay, 1050, 1060, a good little long here just to see. But look at the NASDAQ, man. Puke City right now. So we got to protect some of these longs somewhere. And AMC right now fading back in off that 1050. I'm going to give this one back to 1030. So it still has to give this one some work to the upside. We did take out a little bit of profit here. Let's hold the rest in case we do get something, like an 11, like something like what happened there on Friday. We made the bottom early, kind of like right now, and then it ripped up. So this top to bottom was 1092 up to 1150. So today, let's see, it's something very, very similar. Wow, $10 bottom exactly up to 1050. So still got some work to go on that one. And then TME hovering around 21. We'll take off another piece here, but I still like this 22 level if we can take it. So we'll take some more long now on 10-cent music.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the moonwalk action. We're walking on water with that CPHI. It doesn't give you any trouble. The only trouble is that I didn't get a re-entry point in here because I was being picky, sticking to my rules off the open. Just got some shares at that $1.25 mark. I've actually had a bid in front of like 115 since way deep in the pre-market, and I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because at this point, the way this is falling in, maybe a test of $1 is going to be in play. So a nice little short here on CPHI. I can tell you, I took that stab on Twitter in front of 64. Not done with it yet, but 64.12 just broke the even, so I got out of that one there. Unless it was a bad wick, because it's right back at 15s. Brendo?
All right, CNBC reporting, guys. Suez Canal is open. Finally, that ship has been removed, so traffic is resuming. So that is good news, finally, for a Monday. X, guys, Biden talking about $3 trillion in infrastructure spending. Yeah, U.S. Steel liking that through 24 there. U.S. Steel on the run.
I mean, you think about it, and like to be perfectly honest, look, Biden, it didn't matter who won. You were going to get an infrastructure deal one way or the other. There's a reason he's splitting it up into two, because he can get this one, he can get the infrastructure pushed through. The social side of it, that'll be a different story. U.S. Steel for me, I've liked since 10, liked it at the dip at 17. I think you get anything at like that 21, but it is rounding into this range in front of 25 even, where there's some profit taking. If you're in this one from 10 or 17, either one of those entry points, taking a little bit of profit on this is going to make a little bit of sense because 25 has been a hard top. So you don't want to get too greedy with a play like this. It's been a fantastic runner, but I'd be looking to sell at least a little bit into this 25 range. And then if it dips down from there, maybe it gives you a re-entry point like 10% lower. But I love U.S. Steel, have for quite a little while. I think, look, I just said don't look a gift horse in the mouth like 2 seconds ago, or maybe a couple of minutes ago. And then HGen here. Looks like maybe I shouldn't have been so greedy as to wait around for this little cluster, that 1850 to 19 area. It just bounced off 1950. At this point, I'd consider a reload off of 21, maybe like a 2075 or so. But certainly taking some. If you took no profit on a 21 break, you probably want to take at least some off in the 20 range. Bank that dollar like I have already. If it does get back into 21 off a move like that, I don't know that I want to load in at like 21.50. If it gets that high, it's probably only thinking about exiting the trade. I'd much rather sell lower on the trend and then have a tighter stop than allow it to buy too hard into me and then have a tough decision on that short trade. I don't think I gave Twitter enough room here. And to be honest, like I thought, you know what, I'm going to get stopped out when it breaks that 64 even, but I actually really don't like that trade, to be honest with you. You look at VWAP down here, you did have these little pullbacks and dips a little bit deeper into 63.50. So I do feel like I have to be a little bit more patient if I'm going to play the strength in Twitter. 65 does stand out as a bit of a level. It's a psychological one being an even, and there is a potential breakout through that high. There's just so much room to run in this recovery in Twitter that I will still like a 65 break. Pulling up the daily chart so you can see all of that in perspective. Brendo?
All right, Alcoa also liking that news, guys, infrastructure news. So recent highs here looks like 52 weeks for AA up 2.8%.
Some of those names, yeah, strong, AA, or not strong today, but AA, US Steel, a lot of names into this rally, pretty good. Checking back on AMC, I mean, yeah, whatever. Hasn't really done that much. It dipped against us 7 or 8 cents. We took 7 or 8 cents on the top side. So now it's back to 53, waiting to see if we can get a run here on AMC. I don't think we can go $1 or anything like that. I'm just looking at some of these tops here. 11, well, I mean, 11's all the way up here. These tops from the weekend, 1075 from Friday, 1075, 1065, little levels like that. And then, you know, if we can get going through there, I don't want to take it all out. We'll take out, you know, maybe a third of what we have now if we're lucky enough to get that move. But here comes the market back to the upside a little bit here, trying to rally. So I don't know if that's going to be good or not for AMC. It kind of like moves on its own drum there, so we'll wait on its beat of its own drum. So we'll wait to see if AMC can go. GameStop we haven't looked at yet today. Bouncing probably off that 200, it's a pretty key level there, 190. You could see 200 there was the stop, you know, broke through on Friday, 200 right there, breaking back down, tested it again right there. Never really regained strength. So 200 on GameStop. If there's going to be anything in this market, that has to go. But look, man, all these longs just continue to get foiled. Like, try to make a move up, right back down. So right here, a bad day for longs, including all the longs that I have. So let's wait to see here. GE falls down again. We tried it twice right there, in and out. In, out at 1290, out at this 1284. I guess maybe we got to wait to see for this very bottom of 1270 and change. But things getting sold off, man. You got to find some shorts. What's up, Brandon?
Hey guys, just checking on a few other names, doing some volume this morning. Genius Brands, GNUS, big move, 7%, tag 75, 275 up there. We got up to 80, 85, I guess, on Friday. Another positive note from an analyst regarding Shaq's Garage coming to Genius Brands, guys.
So now looking at Viacom through 46 for a short, but I got to go to that H-Gen. You know what? It's going to be one of these ones. Look at that move to the upside. Have a stop. I talked about it around VWAP. It was I said I'd make a decision around there. It was the easiest decision ever. Get out, get out, get out. The amount of buying that just came into it, about to halt to the upside, which is well, maybe it's not great. If you guys are caught in the short here, unfortunately, and didn't have a stop or didn't have an out around VWAP, that stinks. And of course, I'm not happy about it, but I do like the fact that when you get a halt, 5 minutes to regroup, look at what your entry point is going to be here. Now, I look at this top at about 23 even, and if it holds the line in here, I'm probably looking to re-enter into a short. If it opens below this 22.58 halt price, I think it gives you one entry with that as your out, or maybe even this little wick up here to 22.80. Or if it opens up and cannot crack 23.30, then it's a fade in between the halt and that price with a hard stop at that 23.30. I would not be... You know, I'm not going to be playing the short game into the high of the day here at 24.50. I feel like that's a bit of a strong move. It opens and makes a test at that. So I want it to be weaker on the reopen after that pop. Speaking of H-Gen here, if I'm going to be shorting it, so it has to be off the current halt level or this level back from, like, you know, just before the open at 23.30. Plenty of time to get into this. And then I did mention Viacom there. Just got into it, actually. Wow. That was interesting. I didn't actually think that was going to hit at the exact second that I talked about it, but 46 is just broken. Now, keep in mind, it did touch almost a 45 even, 45.30 or so in the pre-market. That is the pre-market low, so I will take some out in front of low of the day from shorting a level like this.
Yeah, that 20 bottom, too, on 10 cent here. Could come into play. So we're going to watch that. And here's GE. Like, I made the absolute bottom wick again. So I made it there, but it kept going. So that was okay. And then I went long again and then made it there. So I'm going to average in now into this GE. And I'm willing to lose, you know, on this one on the average in and just see if we can avoid this bottom wick one more time. Geez, that's a little bit of bad luck there for sure. I got to get this luck moved around here. Hopefully we can. DraftKings does go way in the money for me. And again, I don't take it. I think this is going to be a good good buy here. But again, with NASDAQ not moving right here and only moving down, actually, I don't want to have any part of DraftKings. But if it does get back to the upside, I mean, some of these names should go. So let's wait. But right now, DraftKings only wanting to make a move down. GE now finally going back to the upside. We're long here at 92, 93, back up to 98. So we made a little bit of money back there. But unfortunately, yeah, like that's brutal, that bottom move there. So now right to the upside. That's literally hundreds, if not more money there difference in me not even putting that order in and then watching this thing go all the way to the backside. So a little more work needed on some of my levels, but here we go. A good move back to 98. Let's take a piece off in case we don't break the high of the day there with GE.
Oh, and I did not hold it on Viacom. It's going to take out this 47 level. I'm in, I'm out. And going to take the hit on that, unfortunately. At the same time that I got Viacom to the short side, which is interesting, we did get into that FTFT on the long side. It did this, break 650, immediately able to take some out for that quick scalp at 660, and then it bounces downside here, and it has a bit of a spread, like a 5-6 cent spread, which gives me a chance to maybe get some in front of the 40 on this little dip. But I'll actually try to be a little bit more passive with this. See if I can't park a few shares here at we'll look at like that 43 range here on the bit of the downside, just in case it bounces off of VWAP. I want to be exposed to this little dip on this particular name here, guys. And wow, yeah, I guess every now and then you get in one of these, and it's going to be that CPHI where it's just, I don't know, it's really not that difficult. I did pull my bid at 115. Looks like I should have left it. It's rounding off right here at that 115 level. So I might as well just take the profit. You should never look at gift horse mouth. This has been flushing all morning, and I did originally have an ultimate target in front of $1 at $1.15. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that, guys. And now, of course, as I load back into some shares, that FTFT, got some up for the scalp. This is very much like 10 cent off the open, where it dips down even further. So I just reloaded, got 47 as an average price. See if it can sustain this long break. But the market is heading southbound rather quickly here, Sean. So, and the only short I have left on is CPHI, the one that's dying the most of a death. We'll also watch out. HGen is going to open up in about 1 minute. I want to get into that one off that reopen.
Yeah, we had AMC here, just took some out again, right at the same levels, so that's good. It looks like 1060 is a pretty good level there. And like I said, we were holding this one for downside, so AMC right now, I don't know if it's worth loading into, but the market's coming down, and we'll take some profits as we see them throw in here, hopefully, on AMC. We did take some more out on GE. We talked about that, going long once again, man. We held some. That's why we have a weird, well, now my average price is right here, 93, but we did just take out some 91s on the upside. Now it's breaking back down, and wow, okay, this market's getting sour real quick on us. Let's get out some more GE. Oh, yeah. This is NASDAQ's falling, S&P falling. This is going to be another bloodbath day, guys. Are we ready for Valeria at the big screen soon?
No, apparently not, but we're going to be open in like seconds here in that HGen. The way the market's falling down, I actually like the short a little bit more. I was able to pick up some shares of FTFT in the quarters as it opens back up there. Yeah, here's the open. It's actually going to be shy of that 23.26, but immediately testing that level. So I wanted to see it roll over at that price before entering a short. I don't want to jump in front of 24.50, which is the current high of the day. I just don't like that look, to be perfectly honest with you guys. Told you the reasons why. Viacom back to that 47, worth a watch there, and looks like a good pickup on that FTFT. If HGen fails and rolls back down, I like to short off of this 23 to 23.30 area, and I like it failing off that weakness. I'd rather not short into the top. I'd rather short on the way back in. It means if I miss it, I miss it. Just got in at 95. Brendo?
Yeah, a number of reversals underway here, guys. We saw initial strength in Apple first off. Big move up to 122.5. But look at this, all the way back down now for Apple. So yeah, market on the way southbound in a hurry.
All right, so we finally get some 99s there. We did panic a little bit and got some 95s out, but now GE going back up to 99. So we like that one, and when we're watching it, I still, my first initial break was this my first initial read was this 13 break, and we just averaged in, and I just can't believe we dumped these there. That was ridiculous. Back up to 13. Now let's get a little more off at 13, and then my next target, higher than this, right where we just got out 13.05. What's up, V?
Hey Sean, future fintech Chinese company is popular on the chat. FTFT is up around 10%, guys.
I'm actually in future fintech. Now, I just got wicked out and then back into that H. I'll take another crack at it, risking about like 30 to 40 pennies. And that's 2 cracks at the high of the day on that HGEN that have not worked out. It looks like the short that we're sitting in was probably the best way to go. And then once it halts, might want to let it calm down a little bit. I had the break on FTFT. It's now dipped down into VWAP. So I've done the buy into VWAP here. My price is 42s on the reentry. It tries to make a double bottom here at the 20s. That's the only level I'm going to give it to. If it breaks, I think there's going to be better opportunities in there. I just got all of that CPHI, so I'm now only in long positions in a dumping market. CPHI gave me 115, so I had to take that out. And of course, there's still Viacom. So again, that future fintech. Just to go to a higher time frame before we get into Viacom. There is this, and when I talk about that 620 area, there is also the 50 period, 6 even, worth looking at. But I do kind of like the breakout setup that it is on right here. That's why I like defending the 620. You have this little area right here on Friday. You go all the way back into the 23rd. You get that same 620 area. That's kind of where I'm getting the idea for the dip buy, risking about 25 cents in slippage on future fintech. The break was only okay-ish, I should say, giving you like 10 pennies off the top. The dip buy, much more upside there, but you got to have a stop.
35. Yeah, I was just thinking, okay, so GE finally, yes, sir. Go to the upside on GE, finally. So we'll get, I mean, just go back on that. You know, oops, that's AMC. NEO. Anyways, AMC still at 1050. We'll see if it can go. I don't know. We'll see. GE was the one I was just talking about there, up to 02 now. Takes them off 01, takes them off O's. Beautiful longs, man. It's embarrassing that we're down on this stock when all we've done is go long on this name and we're back to days high on GE. Just got to be more patient with the trade and not get out. Like, you know, you sort of get shell shocked because you've seen the market just continue to tick down all the time. So when you're in losers, it's like, maybe I should get out of these longs because you know the damage that can be done to the downside. But GE does withhold today. So good movement on GE for sure. Mogo going nothing right now, not doing anything. So I might probably just get out. This comes back up to 950, man. We'll get out. We're still using that 890 as a bottom on Mogo, but that's a no-go right now for that. And then 10-cent music. We tried it. It's okay. We're down on it, but I mean, it's not really moving. Some of these outs right around here. This is a good little long 1275 or so, but we have to wait on it. There goes AMC finally. Well, not finally. Let's see if it takes it out. 60.61, a good little long here. We're long at 52, so making some of that money back here. No dumps on AMC, man. We're trying to hold this one.
Yeah, I mean, AMC, we talked about some of those levels, and certainly relatively strong off those levels from Friday, that 10 even. Bounce on future fintech. I'm going to take some off in front of 650 if it gives me a shot. Now I want to be scalping 10 pennies or so at the start of every single move, so I have a 42s. I'm going to take some out around that 50 level. There was some consolidation. I was too hasty with HGen. Some consolidation right at that 24, so I say to myself, okay, if I can get into a short now that it's sort of calming down in this range, right at that 24 price, tried it once, out, try it twice, out. You know, at this point, when it gives you that consolidation, that's a much different move than a halt, open, test, a high. And once it calms down, I don't mind taking another crack at it, but every single time, have to have an out, have to have an out, have to have an out. This is so strong in here. And yes, it was good at 21, but that doesn't mean the continuation is going to be there. At this point, I might need to halt to the upside before I get back into that name another time. And speaking of things that could potentially, well, it's probably not going to halt, I should say, but things that halted last week, that Viacom, yep, that's me making close to top book. Now, there's no way I was holding it through that 47 range, but it does look like it's going to continue to take out the bottom. If it takes out the low of the day, that's actually 45.36. I didn't have the low at low of the day. I had the low since the open at that 46 break, and of course that didn't work out. Pre-market shorts were the way to go in this particular market, but if Viacom can't actually hold 45s, yeah, we showed you those bottoms, 43, 40, those were the two big ones. Time for happening now already because it's 10 o'clock. Let's go to the big screen and Brendan Wickens.
Hey guys, yeah, let's get a check of North American markets here. We were talking about some relative strength coming into the NASDAQ tech stocks in the pre-market. Not so much anymore. You can see 0.8% basically both the composite and the 100 leading now back to the downside. In fact, the S&P 0.5%, the Dow trying to bounce 0.1% in negative territory. Small caps under pressure once again, 0.02% just went red. The TSX here in Toronto down as well, only 0.1% though for the TSX. A couple things from the watch list. Yeah, Credit Suisse trying to get through that top end of the range here from the open this morning. We're back above 1120. Monster volume, but a lot of liquidity, so it's really not moving around a tremendous amount at this point. But keep an eye on Credit Suisse still down. 12.5%. We had NFT stocks back on the list this morning as well. Tried to find one that was showing some strength, but they're not really doing a heck of a lot. This OCG got up to 980, but right back down with the entire NASDAQ. Guys, back over to you.
Okay, so a couple new position alerts, man. We just did really, really well finally. It wasn't a big one, but we'll just go daps for it because at least we got a winner finally. Microsoft in there, out around 90s and 80s, things like that for Microsoft. But now we're coming to the downside. We're going to watch out for 232. We're almost, we did clean a lot of that out. So that was a good trade. But look what's happening right now. AMC, guys, to the moon a little bit. So let's not be too frugal with this and make sure that we do get some out. 66, 67, a nice little run upside here. This is kind of what we were talking about with these levels on AMC right here, 1070. We gave you this 1075 area, and I said if we, got there, we'd take some out, hoping to get a bigger move. So there it is right there, as discussed, man. 65, 66. I mean, the high is 1070. So I think we did pretty good. We're right near there right now. So that appears to be a good out. We took some Mogo out. I mean, I'm tired of this stock. We made some money on the long side, and now we'll dump the rest of it off if it does break 880. Nothing happening there. GE with a nice move. We did get 04s there, guys, on GE before the market turned. So nice little long, out a bunch of times. So making some money back on these longs, but had to pick some bottoms. I don't know if it's going to be a bottom in Microsoft or not, as it just continues to fall. But thank God we were able to take some of that out. One more test here before 232, then we dump Microsoft. But that's a test on a low hanging fruit right now on Microsoft. The NASDAQ down 1%, Microsoft down 2%. So yeah, maybe there's some room to bounce back up, but not very strong. We're going to dump this through 232, guys.
Yeah, and Nick W there. I do see you, AMPG. Look, they get an order from a defense contractor. That's great. It's fantastic news for them. But you need to notice something stand out like a sore thumb on this chart. Right up into this like 13, 15 area from a couple of weeks ago at that 12, on the 12th, guys. And look, if it's going to give you an opportunity for a lot of short sellers, they're going to be digging in at this 13 range, which seems like it's exactly what's already happened. Is that you get one top, let's go to that daily chart, guys. Go one top, and you get a lower high here. That looks awfully like a decent level to be shorting off of for me. So if I had seen this a couple of minutes ago, I probably would have been shorting off 1275. I mean, I obviously don't have it now. And you can look at that 1290 top or maybe even like a 13 area as your potential out, guys. So I don't know that I could be terribly bullish in the day trade in this name unless it gives you that 13 even break. It's such a monster level on the daily chart. And I never ignore those, guys. That's what it's all about for me. Going to those historical prices that I think make a heck of a lot of sense. That SEAC, which I said I was supposed to get shortable shares in, finally did. It's still rounding into the top. Now keep in mind on the daily chart, this one has to get into like a 185 before it gets to that top. One more time, breaking 24. That HGen just continues to break 24. It continues to give me these setup entries, and it continues to fail through, right? So it rolls over, gives a top break. I get out on the top break. It then makes the rollover through the high of the day, stalling at 25 even. So the lower consolidation is the setup I'm almost always going to take. I get the first entry here off of a previous higher low that it had before. That's like 23.70 is my price. It then stalls at that 24.30. So this would be a re-entry around that same price to take a few more shares here if I can, as I actually just got the fill in the 80s. So, and again, this is just playing the setups. A little more patient with this. I'll get some out at VWAP. Probably the only one I don't like is going to be this ad because I started here at 23 too early. But this one, failed break through the high of the day, does not get to that 25 mark. I take the lower consolidation, so HGen once again, I'm back into it. Brendo.
I just saw a couple of people talking about this in the chat. ZKIN, keep in mind there's NFT ties to this name as well. Volatility downside. So we had a huge reversal through 1020 back to 980. But if you look at Friday, we're still kind of stuck within Friday's range here. So overall, yeah, volatile, but really hasn't done much overall, guys.
All right, so we're going to, I saw the halt there, and I don't know what that DLPN, that's really the only name that I ever traded, and I was short 28. We could check out on that one. Okay, now we're, I don't know. We have about 30% or so left of our initial AMC long. So we dumped a bunch there, then we let it fly up, and now we're in this 75-80 range. So that's a big win for us for sure as that goes. Microsoft, good little bottom pick there, defending 232 in all this hell. So we'll wait to see if it gets back up. I still think there's a chance for the market to go today. It's still early, right? 4-day week, don't forget about that. Oh, look at this, guys. Viacom. Yeah, so there it is, 45.50. We did pick that up, and we dumped it quickly for 50 cents. So this was a mistake. We got in and out here. This was a mistake on this stop order. It was right down there. So we got in and out. So you may see that Viacom, my profits look a little lighter than they should be, but that's a nice little trade there, 45.50 to the upside. We're really 2 for 2. This one in, and then this one in, and then this was the same minute mistake, but that happens. Okay, that's that, AMC, and then GEO. There goes AMC, okay, up to 75. We talked about that, but I just got a fill, so that was good. And then GE still hovering around 13, man. Unbelievable that we're red on this stock right now, considering that all of our buys, besides the very first one, is great. But GE failing at that 13.05. That's that exact level that we were watching. That's why we waited. I didn't even go long 13. I waited to go long 03s on purpose, guys, because I needed that to move up. But then it just completely stopped at the high side. Going long 13 would have been fine, but here it comes fading back in again. The market just can't go up here, Brendo.
All right, here's one that's strong. I'm not sure I've ever brought this as a mover on an intraday basis, but Mosaic, guys, just popping up on volume here. They're teaming up with this ag biome, I should say, to develop some soil enhancers and fertilizer work. So a nice move here for MOS on volume, guys.
Oh my goodness! Just showed. I was mentioning in the chat. There was an iceberg buyer on HGEN at 23.50 that just could not be broken. And there goes Viacom. Wow. There goes Viacom. Just picked up that short on the break of the low of the day there, guys. But it looks like, did it hold? Yeah, it actually looks like it held 45 there, unfortunately. So 44.80, it looks like it got to on that little break, but then Viacom immediately coming back in. I did take some out on that, what looked like a failed break. That's why I want to make sure I cover some, get out half of it on what was a failed break through 45, it looks like. I actually got 45.10, which is a crazy trigger price on any kind of a breakdown, but in dark pools, it's going to be the name of the game. So once again, breakdown of Viacom. This time I actually take some out on the failed break, so if I re-enter the trade, it's a little bit safer of a play. That HGN is absolutely off to the races, guys. It's very, very strong. I would stay away from shorting at least till we get another haul to the upside, something along those lines at least. And FTFT holding 620 for now, but doing absolutely nothing. Very, very sleepy stock. Viacom looking for a reload. Although if this is a fail break bottom at 45, you saw what happened. Fail break bottom at 40. You don't want to get too ugly on you here. You got to give it at least a buck. I do think so. I haven't reloaded into it yet, but. Guys, if you give it like $2 on this trade, there's a very good chance it's reversing, getting us back to that $50 range at some point. Market trying to turn here.
Yeah, the market heading to the south side right now, like real quick too. We just got out of our Microsoft, basically a flat trade, thank God. We were able to get this out on this bump back upside. Man, I mean, that's the thing, when you're holding multiple positions, you can really see when you're starting to get into trouble here. And that was just a big move down in that market, Ed, so we'll have to watch out. We're 2 for 2 on Viacom, but we didn't take that break. That was a good one until it wasn't, I guess. But we'll wait to see here if it does come back VIAC. Check in on our AMC, though. That's still cruising, but we were dumping some again here. Now I have officially 25% left of this long at 50. So I don't know, man. With this market just heading to the south side here, this may be it for AMC, but I'm still going to hold out faith now. No more outs, guys. We'll take one more at 75, and then we'll hold it the rest to the upside. We'll get down to 20% and see if we can't take out that 11 right now. Viacom still hovering around there. Palantir not really doing anything. Neo back to 35. So that could be a decent level of concern here as it goes all the way to 36 and now rips to the downside. Is that a rip or a tank? To the downside, 34.80. It got in this level again here, 34.60 and change. So yeah, things not looking great for some of the names that's on our board, but Neo looking to make a rebound off that 35. That was probably a really good pickup on the low side there.
Yeah, and just going to that Zedkin for a second, we're actually consolidating on Viacom here on 45, 50 or 60. I'd much rather test higher before I get a reload. I look at Zedkin, and I got to pay for some shorts on this one, but ultimately, going back to the higher time frame, you look at this 12 area that we're getting into. Look at all of the chop in and around this range. This is a much better looking idea for a bit of a roll. If it does come back down and retest like that 1050 area, that was support before. So I guess if that's resistance, if you like the dip buy, you're probably waiting $1 from here on ZKIN. But I do have to make sure it's a reasonable price. I'm not gonna. It's $11, so it's probably only a few cents a share to short. If it's anything more than like 30 or 40 pennies, I wouldn't necessarily pay it on the Zedkin. But if it gets up to that 13, you saw how hard it turned before, and there's all kinds of chop when you get into this range, which I kind of like that chop zone. You guys talking about Rocket? I'll get to that one in a quick second. It looks like it's continuing to go upside.
Is it? I don't even
that
know.
what people-
That's crazy because, yeah, I'm a pretty big Rocket shareholder too. So let's go over here and have a quick look. Wow. I'm just going to go back to Brendan on this one. And I missed, it's my bad. I missed the story. Was there one on this? And we'll give Brendan a couple seconds to see because, wow, what a dip. And it's funny because I was looking at it at this VWAP and I just figured it just got taken out. It was a squeeze. It came back. Remember I talked about it, that it was coming back down and we'd see what happened in a weak market. You know, we didn't like this stock, but wow, rocket up to 27. Yeah, there's size there. That's not going to matter. 15 million, there it goes. 15 million shares on the day here for RKT. Let's just continue to run, man. As a shareholder, me happy. As a day trader, me confused. Not for very long. What's up, Brendan?
Nothing significant as far as headlines for Rocket, guys. There is a lot of chatter online regarding Wall Street bets, possibly on RKT, guys.
Okay, so I got to get out then ASAP because Wall Street Bets has screwed us on Rocket before because everyone thought that, you know, with that big short position that they had, and then you did have the $1.50 or $1.11 dividend there on Rocket. But that's great news for Rocket shareholders right to the upside. I hope I'll get some out of my long position there when I can. Microsoft 232, I bought the bottom here. And the reason why, man, I just went back. Here's a 20-minute chart. This is GE, very, very similar. I'll explain that in a minute too. But Microsoft right here, I like this 231. I mean, we're going to try to trade to make money. Like there's a 231 bottom. I just want to see if that holds. I'm willing to take a bids all the way down in here into softy. So we do have a nice long now after getting swept out of our short. I want to do the first test here at 32. That does not hold. So now we'll wait to see. We do pick it back up. And I'm going to use this 31 as a spot. If it breaks, look, I mean, this could get nasty all the way down here to 229, 230, but I'm not going to hold it past 231. So there it is, 231.09, the very bottom, 230.60, but that's just give you guys an idea there. As now it rips up to the money, 26 cents now in the money on MSFT.
And NEO making a bit of a push off the bottom. Look, I'm looking at the ES and the NASDAQ trying to get off the lows here. And I see NEO hold this like level here at 34.70, hold 35. I want to see if we can't get any kind of consolidation for a bit of a dip, buy in this name. I did get those shares in Viacom through the top. In front of 47. I have scalped some out in front of like 50. So I'm going to start scalping that trade between 46 and 47 as long as it wants to, 45 and 46 as long as it wants to be there. But I'm going to be patient with NEO. I'll give it back to like a 35 on a dip. And then try to pick up shares at a better price. I feel like this has been one of those mornings where anything that I'm chasing hasn't worked and everything that I'm sort of patiently working into has been the better play. So I'll stick to those lines and see if it can't work out a little bit better than some of the rushed trades I feel like I've been in, especially with that HGen. And thank goodness we got out of that one because I mean honestly, after that iceberg order, it was absolute disgusting move to the upside. You're seeing it continuate there. I just got 35.10s into NEO, so waiting saved me like 15 pennies on entry. Zedkin patience did not pay off. I didn't roll into the short on that one. Looks like it's starting to come back into VWAP. It is what it is, guys. I'm going to miss out on some of these from time to time. Viacom, finally, the move I was trying to make here, where I got stopped out, actually works this time. We roll back into it in front of 46, get back out into 45. I'm going to hang on to a quarter of the position just in case we retest what level? 43. 43 was a big one, and it wasn't on the way down that 43 was big. After it halted back to the upside, it held 43 like an absolute champion before making a 10% bounce to 47. So from here, if 45 cannot hold on Viacom, I do think 43 is the next level down.
Yeah, 43 is where I'm going to be looking at for sure on Via C. We're 2 for 2 on that name, and we're just going to continue to be patient with it. There's a nice little long. I mean, we got dumped out there at 231. We talked about that. What's been happening today to me is just seems like the same story over and over again. We basically make the bottom, and then we're able to catch something on the way back up. So there it is, man. 232 defended. Out 69, so that's right now a 50-cent win, and we'll hold on to more to the upside, turning Microsoft back into Greensville. But damn it, just wish we never got stopped out there. Oh, that was like just, man, like by 10 cents there. Damn it, just stopped out through. Okay, GE. All right, we did take some more there. We're going to see again if it can hold these bottoms like 1280, 1290, something like that on GE. Just looking, the daily chart doesn't really do any justice to it. If you see last week, we did dip down. I mean, there is potential here to break this, right? That's already happened, and that's where we got out. But then I guess there was some kind of buyers. So I'm thinking we got to honestly give this back to like 75-ish. Like all the way down here, if we're going to keep buying GE. So let's just keep doing that. And yeah, I am willing to sort of fall on the sword here, because if this market gets back upside, I don't think GE tests down here. We'll see if it does, but I like it. We're going to average in again in the 80s and then average again in the low 80s if we have to. Microsoft 70 cents in the money. AMC right now 10 cents in the money. And that's really all that I'm looking at, man. Boeing has held upside during all of this, 250, 350. We wrote down on our sheet a dip to 245 would have been pretty nice. There it is there. But we didn't get that. It only dipped down to 249 in the pre-market. So we can watch out for Boeing still up. 3.5% is BA right now. So maybe we'll take off some Microsoft right here and then see if it does fall back in. It's 50 cents in the money, and that's a pretty big move right back. But if the NASDAQ goes, then at least we have some on. But here goes Microsoft trying to make a move back to the high side.
And finally approved is one of these Viacom trades that, for me to the short side, this last one. We did get shares out in front of 45, just got some. It broke this 44.82 previous bottom. So I like those bottom breaks. You get those stop orders that come through like 10, 15 pennies and trigger everybody out. So you get out on that momentum. And if it bounces sort of rubber band action back through the stop or area, you're not caught holding all of your shares. So I do still have bids down to 44. And of course, I like that 43 level. Those will be the next two outs. First test has to come back into this 45.80 area. We got the reload. If it can't hold 46 at this point, you could snap back to the upside. That's why you got to take profit. But also, I've gotten away from some of these names, and I promised to get to one of them. And I think Brennan's going to cover it in the small cap recap. Let's go to the big screen.
Hey guys, yeah, a few that were moving around in the pre-market. Let's discuss SEAC still up 50%. I was talking about this range on the daily chart. You can see there's 155 up to 165, but way up here, these last kind of wicks on the top end, 175 to 185, a bit of an area as well. So it did show obvious strength here right from the get-go this morning, 130, 135, the bottom end, depending on where you want to look at. Did hold there. We get all the way up into the top end of the range. Trying to be patient with this, see if we can't get down into 135, 130. Back at the bottom end for SEAC. This one's nuts. HGen tried the long initially, just using this $22 support that was supporting the pre-market here. Flushed out of that, but gave you a short opportunity. This is $1.50 down to $20, $19.75 depending. And then we go nuts all the way up to 27. So the better opportunity, obviously, on the long side of HGEN. CPHI, a nice flush, stress-free trade of the morning. I was really hoping for these levels up here, 175, 180. That didn't happen. All the way down to $1 on that one, guys. Back over to you.
Speaking of that, the SEAC, I haven't traded it, but I did pay for the shorts in here. Oh no, didn't get Zetkin, but SEAC now in a consolidation off the pre-market high, which I like at re-entry around this 150. I'll see if I can get a little something in around this price. I don't want to chase too far. Oh, look at that. Sometimes you pay to add liquidity and it's like it blows through the level. So I actually hopped on a free gateway at 50 and then it blew through the entire level and I actually got that 150 short there. So just talking about that consolidation, it's a little bit late to this party. Certainly you could have had that rollover, but I like these chop zones. You can now give it back to like this previous pre-market high, that 155. It's a tighter stop than you normally have down here, but like I said, if you're late, you better be well dressed and with a good stop area. I'll put bids all the way down into this 130, which is obvious support. I mean, if you can't see that support, not sure what chart you're looking at, guys. But either way, you got to be able to scalp on a $1.50 stock. You got to be willing to take 5, 10, 15 cents. Those types of moves are going to be valuable. Checking back in on Viacom, like I said here, this is an important bounce. When you get a bottom break like that and it sort of flushes down, stops people out, only goes that 10, 15 cents, maybe 20, where you would have those stops triggered, and then bounces back. You have to be a bit cautious with this because that could be the move back to the upside. It's now trying to roll over at 45.50, also known as the pre-market low here at 830, 45, 35 or so. So in that same range. So we're still in a nice little downward trend. No real cause for concern until it breaks back up above 46. So all systems go on this short in particular. Just got into SEAC and NEO. Just picked up some more shares. Again, trying to be patient. Try to get up to this like 35, 50 range, then dip back down. I'm going to add to it here in front of this like 35, but this market again looking weak. So Viacom short, SEAC just got into that short trade and then try to pick up something long. I like NEO with basing out here, thinking that would be my exposure to the long side. If we can hold the low, fantastic. If the bottoms break, good chance Viacom's probably going to get absolutely crushed anyway. So you can call it a hedge, whatever you want, but you have to pick some relative names that you like, whether it's buying a dip or finding something that was strong already, which I tried in Twitter, and that gave up on that. So I'd rather bottom pick in NEO than go to the name that I thought was going to be a little stronger than it is here in Twitter. Brendo?
All right, Daylo here for Discovery as well, the other one that was mixed up in that mess at the end of last week. Coming back to $40 here, guys, for Discovery. Well off these lows still, though, from Friday.
Okay, we're going to pick up some more GE here. We just dump our Microsoft for a nice little win there as well. Microsoft out, so that's a good one off a long here, 232. So we take that out, and that's going. And yeah, we said we wouldn't take out any more AMC after we did right there, but I mean, it just rips to 65, and we took a little bit more out there. So the next order I have now is just upside. I don't know. It just looks like it doesn't want to go. I thought it would, guys. And we're trying it, and it's not going right now. So, and that just probably did something to do with GameStop not moving. A lot of attention over on Rocket, though, right now. So 27.50 was the high, and now we're getting faded back in. So maybe that was the move there on Rocket. You can look, if you're looking to pick some up, there's this little high here that may be something. Here comes right back in. 26.30, that may be something to hit on the downside if the Reddit crowd is over with this stock now. We'll see. 26.30 to the downside Rocket probably gives you a test of, maybe VWAP of 26, but then I'm just looking at down here. I mean, remember, if the buying is done, then who's left? So we'll wait to see if they're buying dips. They did it right here again. So that's a little area to look at. 26.30 on that name. NEO, we did pick up some 16s here, so I guess we can wait to see what that's going to do. Oh, nice little one. We'll get some out, 34.35. There it is. A nice little win there. So NEO, I think we should, let's just get more out here at 22. There it is. Sorry, at 22, at 42. So we take a more out there at 35.42 as now it goes to the upside. Finally, a nice little win for us. Long 35.16 on NEO, just looking at this 35 bottom, but just took it out, man. Now we're into 40%. Sorry, 60% left, 40% out.
Yeah, actually, that 16 was the exact same price as the reload here. I think I'm taking some out in front of VWAP as well. I did get some at 42 as well with you, Sean. So I'm kind of swimming the same line. I think that makes a lot of sense in NEO to get some out in front of that VWAP. Viacom, on the other hand, this one, look, headed southbound continuously. This is me bidding. You can see here. I do have a bid down here at 44.40. I just dipped off that price, bounced here, and look, it's still in a downward trend, but it just bounced off my order. If it takes it through 44.50 again, I'll try to get some more shares out here. Trying to hang on to this one for a bit of a longer duration. Been sitting in it for a while here, but when you're with the trend in Viacom, you've already seen how that can work out for you Friday in the afternoon. I did get some more shares on SEAC here. These are at 49, so 49.5 is going to be my average price. Once it breaks this little dip buy bottom that it had at 145, start taking it off every 5 pennies or so. In front of that, every 5 pennies, so like 44s, down like 41s, that kind of a thing. Giving it to that 55 range, but this looks like a solid re-entry trade. Even if it bounces up to VWAP, I'd probably still stay on the short end as long as it holds like a 164 even. Just going to come back if I can. And we talked about Twitter, but I also had mentioned Snapchat. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did mention Snapchat is showing a little bit of the strength that Twitter had in the morning. That is also just short-lived, guys. So this one all the way back down below that 50 area. Just to give you a look at the daily chart here on Snap. It's getting into this. There it is. It's getting into a potential support if it ever gets to this 48. So you look at this hard bottom. It was a breakout. Actually, if you go back to December, 48, 48, 48 going into last week's bottom. Definitely have to watch a 48 level on Snapchat on any kind of a serious dip in the market.
Yeah, I mean, Snapchat, I'm liking Snapchat, that's for sure. And I haven't been an investor in Snapchat yet. So GE does come back down. We were waiting at 88. And of course, we don't get filled. So I had to punch a little bit there at 89. Was still hoping to get some 88s. So we didn't load up down here. But we've been buyers all the way down here. And our average price now is 93. Not worried about it. Still not a super heavy position. But we'll make bank if it can get back to 13. So hoping on that one. And then averaging in, I just want to say to GE, 74, 75 would be the out on that one if we can get it. NEO, oops, that's not NEO, that's TME. Okay, TME down to 20. All right, good thing we got out of that one. We'll have a look back at that. I did want to talk about NEO though. Good outs there, 43s, 35s. 29s. So good little out there. I'd love to hold the VWAP, but with, again, just too many shares and the longs haven't been working. So we're out now. We only have 30% left. Long 35.16 on NEO. We'll wait to see what that one wants to do. Our Microsoft still hovering, man. It's trying to bounce off that 232. I guess that's a good spot to go long one more time down here. So yeah, actually that was a good spot. We missed that. We'll have to go back over there. AMC, this is the dance that we don't really want to be a part of too much anymore. It's not really doing anything, so we're not going to let this one fall all the way back down. Let's just find out a better price to get out. This is like 1040. I think that makes sense. Yeah, 1040 all the way down here. I'm not going to average in. I just feel like it's made the move there. Very, very similar to that Rocket. I don't have Rocket on board, so let's just call that up. Very, very similar to this move upside there. We talked about it coming right back into this level. That's right where it stops. So this could be a good opportunity for a long in Rocket. Actually, maybe that is a good opportunity. Let's take a long right here to see if it goes Rocket, long, 26, whatever we have to pay here, 40 or so.
Yeah, and as I noticed, just stalling out once again a little bit here on a higher low in Viacom. So I'll go and take some more profit at about that dollar range. And if it's going to flush here, instead of getting more out at 44, I take some out at 44.80. And then if we go further to the downside, I'll get the rest out in front of 43. It's starting to really slow down. The market was making a little bit of a turn here. I like the short. We're still in it at 45.78, guys, in Viacom. It just felt like it made a lot of sense to peel some off there and take a little profit. NEO, just a bit of a contrast. Sort of long into a dip as opposed to shorting off any pop off the bottom. Still consolidating around that 35.15 area, so all systems go. First entry was at 10s, then at 16s, which we have on right now. I am waiting to see us test that 35.50 before I get any more shares out, and then VWAP as well. So the market turns here. I like our chances to crack VWAP. I'd like to hold on to 20% for a move into 36. Brendan?
All right, IZEA Worldwide, another one. The U.S. military handing out contracts this morning because this company just picked one up as well. So they just announced that new contract, or a contract extension of a previous one that they had already. But nice little pop here, IZEA, guys.
All right. And nice little pop down here. It looks like we somehow got some 88s on that move down on GE, so that was a good one. Not so many shares, but we picked up enough to make it worth our while. Actually, that was an 89 fill, actually. For some reason, it's showing there. It looks like an 88 fill, but I think that's an 89 fill. Okay, so it goes all the way to 94, 95 on some movement back. And look at the market here, guys. It can't get going. This is the NASDAQ. It tried. Check out the ES, the same sort of fate here for the ES. Tried to go again, misfire. So now we're heading to the bottom. Looks like we'll break out the bottom of the day here on the ES, down that 0.65% right now. So yeah, looking nastier and nastier here as this is GE, but very, very similar charts. You can see, I don't know if you can see this. Let's put up beside each other. As one goes, so does the other. We're trying to make these bottoms right here. I mean, look, they almost look identical, ES and GE. So right here, making this bottom, we're buying these bottoms on GE. If we get a blast up here to 94, 95 again, coinciding with this, I think it's worth getting a little bit more out. But right now we're okay, man. Rocket long, a good one. That's 15 cents in the money. We did take that. We said that was a good spot for us. So there it is, long in here. We'll see if we get some out. First step, 86, 87. Looks like it wants to work. So that'll be a good one. And everything else falling by the wayside here as the market continues to crash. What's up, B?
All right, 10:30, guys, coming up in about 45 minutes. Another great guest coming through. He's been here multiple times. Michael Auerbach, back with us once again from Subversive Capital. Another combination for this Canadian-listed SPAC to tell us about today. So Subversive Capital coming through in about 45 minutes. There's also 1 hour left in the trading session over in Europe. Miss V is watching what's going on over there. What's up?
Hey Brandon, European markets started this week mostly in a positive territory. Cellnex Telecom trading in Spain is up more than 4% after Singapore wealth fund GIC agreed to buy a 2.5% stake in the company back to.
Cautious start to the week, guys, right across the globe as far as markets are concerned.
Yeah, cautious, but not too cautious. The buyers in U.S. Steel here, pushing through 25, 52-week highs there. We talked about that top on the daily chart, just sort of showing you a couple of times that it's rounded out there. As the market again tries to hold up, sort of bouncing. I mean, we just bounced off of 12.8 again. Well, maybe shy of that on the NASDAQ, and the ES actually briefly breaking that 39.35 area near the bottom. if you do get another look, and again, I love U.S. Steel. I'm a holder of U.S. Steel, and I've only ever really, liked it for the longer-term style trades. For the day trade, however, it is rounding out to this like 25 even top. It's hard to look at something like this, like 24.85. For a bit of a breakdown scalp trade, like 20-25 cents, maybe give it to like a 25, 15 or so, maybe like a 10 to 15 area. It looks like really, really good on the setup, and I'm probably going to lean into it at least a little bit here. But watch out for that Viacom. Like I said, if it tests at 46, I don't want that thing snapping up on me and I'm caught short at the bottom or near the bottom on that name. We've already made some money, made that money back on that Viacom short. We had a couple of tracks at it to the short side that didn't work out, but I am going to be jumping into US. Look, I love US Steel, but I'm jumping into the short at 24.85 if it does break here to the downside. See if it can't retrace at least halfway to VWAP would be a good one.
We take out a little bit, yeah, good move there. We'll take out a little bit, do a little Gronk spike there for Rocket as it goes right to our spot, out at 75 there. Now we'll wait to see if we take out the high, but again, 30 cents was a good move for us on Rocket. Now we'll see what it wants to do. High side now, this keeps on going. Wow, this name, I mean, obviously there's some juice behind this as it looks pretty strong. GE, we talked about buying 88s there again, 89s, 88s. We didn't pick up any. We're still waiting for lower on that move. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, which is fine because we're loaded up, but we could take a little more if need be. And then here we go, Neo right to the downside again, testing this 35 area. I mean, I'm just debating, what do we like more? Microsoft down here at 232-ish or Neo? Neo has more of a chance to pop huge if the market goes up, but Neo also has a much better bottom in my opinion anyways, lower though. There's Neo down here on the downside of 34. So this could fall in. I'd love to pick some Neo up, 34.60, 34 and change, but Microsoft is sort of the name that I'm trying to figure out here, downside 232. That's probably a good buy. Viacom, we've been in and out of this name, a couple longs, nice little profits. But right now, what a great bottom that was, 44.50. We're gonna wait for 43.50 though. What's up, B?
Just had an alert on DraftKings again, guys. Now down 3%. This was having quite the morning in the pre-market on that WWE news, if you missed it, but 61.50. Interesting area here from last week, also going back a month or two on DKNG, guys.
Yes, that is a good little spot. There goes Rocket, by the way, now through 27. Okay, I see you, Rocket. Let's see if we retest again. Let's get some out, 27, 25 or so. And maybe not, actually. Maybe we just hold on to this one. But 27, yeah, you know what, 27 and a quarter. Let's just take a smooth 80 or 90 cents here on Rocket and then get out right around here if we can. It just resisted 27. Maybe 27 was the spot. Let's put an offer around, yeah, here it comes right back upside. Okay, we can get a little more greedy. Let's see if 27, 18 or 19 fills. And
sometimes you just got to lay in the weeds like a little bit of a ninja. Also, it helps to have Brendan remind you of some of these stocks when there are trading opportunities in SEAC. And of course, I'm going to call it SEEK. Why not? Because that just makes no sense at all. Look, we talked about the rollover. You wait for it to show the weakness off the high. It then consolidates at an obvious price area. There was this dip. There was, of course, previous pre-market highs around that 150. I said I'd have bids all the way into that support at 128. It's about halfway there, so of course, do I actually have half of it out? Not quite. I should have. If it got to if it breaks 135, maybe we'll get more aggressive with a bid in another bid at 40 or so, something like that. 5 cents, 10 cents. I should have half out. If I think it's going 150 to 130. When it breaks that 140, I should have exactly half out. That's the way I like to trade these. So throw another bid there at 140 even. See if I can't get it. Got the rest of my bids into 130. If it ever broke the $1.25, you can always re-enter the short on a lower consolidation. Very, very calm trading in that particular name, as Brendan was mentioning to you guys. So I try to have a few of those shorts on. As I said to you guys, I love US Steel, but I see a setup like that. I'm going to try that short at 85. I got 85 break, I should say. I got 83s, scalped them out for a 10-cent win, just got some out for about a 20-cent win here. I talked about VWAP as a bit of a target, but when it's a strong name, I don't always expect it to go all the way down there, so I will take some out, more out in front of it. So just getting a couple of bids in there on US Steel. Nice little rollover trade. The market showing some weakness. It was so strong. Profit taking has to come in, and it has been dipping into VWAP before it makes its other bounces. So just taking advantage of a bit of a reversal there in US Steel to fry up some profits there. And speaking of profits, if something's going to go up, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping it's going to be NIO, but it rounded out, could not break out of this range. It took some more shares off at 33, scalping like 15 pennies or so. From this point, I'm not going to have as much if it goes through VWAP, but this was the only long I'm going to put on. Well, the only long I have on here. If I can find something else that I really like, I'll jump into it. But I just like the bottom that it's made off a higher low from the pre-market. And of course, the move it made on Friday. That's what we talked about. This is another reason why you guys should follow the show. When the bottom got put in your Viacoms and your Discoveries and all those other crazy names, NEO we mentioned. I know Sean, you mentioned this one, and I said I agreed. The 34 long on NEO was probably the best move there. So if we're going to bounce off of some of these flushes that we've had from these hedge fund liquidations, I like this area on NEO to be able to hold this higher low. And there you go, guys. We're going to give you all of our thoughts. We'll show you the winner. We'll show you the losers. If you don't like that, I don't know what to tell you, so take a second, hit that like, put a smile on Miss V's face, because she's wearing all black, and I see her pouting, which I don't like to see.
Yeah, no, I told her to wear green on Friday, and the NASDAQ was up 1.8%, so there you go. 2720, we tried, we have an order there to get that out, so we'll see if that can come through. I guess I can cancel my 26 bid now, as right here, nice little move on Rocket. We buy that little move right here, guys. So that's a good one, and then we'll see if we can't get out. Maybe even right now, 27.15, something like that, worth it for us. We're still holding 3 positions. NEO, big one, nicely in the money, just one trade, bang right here. Out again right now at 40, so that was, another good move for us. GE, I don't know. We're still stuck at 91. A good buy on the downside here, but no idea how high this wants to go. I don't think it just ticked to 92. That doesn't seem right, but we'll wait to see if that can go upside now. On a nice little ES recovery, we talked about buying Microsoft at the bottom and missed it. We had it here, but we dumped it out as it wasn't moving, and I was like, do we buy this down here? Obviously should have. Now making moves back to the upside. Wow, nice move right there, to be honest with you. So that's a good one. And then Rocket looks like we missed it. We were just seconds away from getting out there. 27.20 was my offer. Now it's coming back into this level. Let's put another bid or offer, about 27. If we can't play the momentum to the upside, I'll forego 20 cents just to put this in our pocket, because as you can see, the market now moving northbound, and we like it. We like it a lot for some of these positions.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. You have to find something that you like to that long. So I want to come back to a name from the watch list. If you guys follow along the free watch list that we put out every single day. And here's one. Oh, yeah, I actually just got into Twitter there right there. I was actually about to tell you guys, look at the bottom end of this range. Twitter finally rounds out at 60.40. This was a 63.25. You actually can still pick some up. I just got 63.30 to the long side. As it tries to break back up here, and the market's trying to go to sort of go where we started things for relative strength. Twitter just getting an upgrade. And that was really the only thing I saw there. But either way, at a time when the market looked like it was going to open down, Twitter was showing some strength. Now trying to break out of the bottom end consolidation here. So just got a 63.30 long to add to NEO, which is the other long position I have on. Watch out, U.S. Steel, as it continues to show a little bit of strength here. Now, we're already banked on the short, so this actually can't turn into a losing trade at this point, unless I'd have to hold this through the high of the day, which I'm not going to do. That would be actually crazy. I'll give it to 25 even on the last quarter of this position. I only had a VWAP target anyways. That's where the last of my shares are. To try and make like a 40-cent scalp. It was always going to be a scalp trade in U.S. Steel. I actually think if it broke VWAP, I'd probably be looking to buy it at 24 anyways. So if the market comes down any further, I would think about reversing long in 24. Hopefully, we get the last of the short out here, and then can consider any long positions. But Twitter, new position long. NEO, still holding 35, but it cannot break that 34.50. That's a lot of resistance there. Time to take you guys to the sector watch at the big screen. Let's go, Brennan.
Hey guys, time for a look at the S&P 500. We'll see what is moving the market now down 0.6%. Widespread selling here. You can see right across the board. Let's talk about some strengths. First of all, CARR here in the industrials group, Boeing as well. There's Lockheed Martin, there's NOC, HILL, OTIS. Some of the industrial group is trying to kind of lead the way back to the upside or hold up the market at least. Communication stocks, not so much. Again today, there's Viacom, Discovery, the B class, the A class, 3.6% to the downside. LYV, there's Dish Network here as well. The one I don't see at the moment is Fox. Fox A and Fox, both sharply lower on Friday, trying to bounce. Twitter, though, we mentioned on an upgrade, catching a nice little bounce there, 3% to the upside. Energy stocks in the corner there, very, very weak, along with oil today. I mentioned consumer discretionary as well. Maybe I didn't mention consumer discretionary. We were talking about industrial stocks. Tapestry, UAA, UA, A class, B class, depending on what you want to look at. For Under Armour, Ralph Lauren here had a bit of a headline this morning, down 1.7% as well. So these guys also weak, but look at the banks. The entire group here in negative territory for the banking sector, insurance, banks, and diversified, all sharply lower. Tech stocks also coming under pressure again, led by the semiconductors, the entire group to the downside, 0.6% right now, guys, for the S&P. Back to Neil.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Actually, just noticed the stock at $30. Just looking at Virgin Galactic, oddly enough, this one was actually up 1.6%. There was some talk of NASA handing out some contracts. Not that Virgin Galactic got. I mean, you could see like a Boeing or like a Max Argon involved, something like that. But either way, just noting a little bit of relative strength in space here. Twitter does pull back in. Leave some room here. Let me just get back to the chart for you guys. Whoops. NF. I don't even know what NF is on our system. We have like literally every single market, and I have no idea what NF is. But here's my 15-minute chart just to give you guys a bit of a bigger perspective on Twitter. I did try that one long on the bottom break, sort of the top break. That didn't work out, of course. And then we do have this little dip buy that we've now put on here in Twitter. And just I wanted to show you guys this because when we first mentioned this name, here was that last week top. From the end of the week, like Thursday and Friday at 62, we went over this in the pre-market. This is where I'm supporting. It's the 62 level here. It's previous resistance into a support level. You do have what was this 64 area, which is at the top. If we can chew through that, and of course we're about $1 away from this. This is the exposure you want. It's at 64 to like 66 range. So I know we're ways away from that. If the market can get itself going, that's sort of that target area that I'd be watching for on Twitter here. So picking it up in front of that 62 low with a bit of a bigger look, guys. I want us to be able to get through that 64 to 65 area. That's what we're looking for. I also told you Viacom here, I did not want to get caught at the bottom. So I don't know why it didn't flip. There we go. There's Viacom. It does break back above 46. On our last show, we're able to take all these shares out, but it never broke that 44.50. It just couldn't go any more than like $1, half in the money before coming out here, losing 25 pennies on the last 20% of the position. But finally, a successful short in Viacom. I just didn't want to get caught. This one's going to turn around on me here. So I still have that U.S. steel, a little bit of that U.S. steel. I have that SEAC to the short side. That one's still in the money. Long Neo's in the money. Twitter is testing the bottom, but I like it. I definitely like that one in front of that 62 area. You saw that previous support level. Longer time frame, I want to be holding this one a little bit deeper on Twitter. Oh, sorry, yeah, Sean, just put my bad. I didn't even put you on.
Water there, so now we've got our water. So now we're hydrated up. Yeah, so, look, we still have the Neo. We're still watching that one. Good trade. I know Neil probably just talked about that. So we will say cowbell for anyone long with Neo on this one. Good little spot there. Only one trade for me in. A couple outs here. Now you can see that we're holding the high side right now. It's too bad because the only position that I'm really, really dug into here is GE, and it's not going up. So as the market goes, this does not. We've dug in here again. We dug in. Now we have some more bids on the downside right now. GE near the low of the day. I don't believe it. So we're going to try to present a long situation here. And if it doesn't go, it doesn't go. But I got to give this one at least down to 12.75, guys. Let's see if we can't make a real move. And then Rocket, still doing the same old crap. We talked about trying to get some out here, upside 27. We waited for 27.20. That didn't come. And now we're right back to flat on RKT. The only time we've tested this today is right here. Get out if it breaks back below this 26 flat. Brendo?
Next, if you remember from last week, NEXT was a big mover Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Now again today, we're trying to get back to the upside. Just had a volume alert there. Volume nowhere near worth mentioning what it was on Friday, but still negative on the session overall. But next, trying to go here, guys.
Actually, Sean, I hadn't mentioned Neo yet. But let's hit that one, guys. We'll pound that one off because we're both looking at the same long position here. It got to VWAP. I did take some off again at that 35.50, so we get that 30-cent scalp. Now it's above VWAP here, and I wanted to see if we can't push into 36. I do have now I'm sort of even keel with a couple of longs and a couple of short positions on U.S. Steel, which is actually a strong name. If we can push into 36, I'll take the rest of this off and then look for a long off of 35.50 if it can hold up. But here's the problem: as I go to the NASDAQ, which is starting to roll over, the ES starting to roll back to that low of the day. This market every single uptick in the market just seems to get sold off a little bit here. So that's what's being fought against on that neo long. It's really the price that we're gonna like. You put in that flush to 34, and then you're basically holding the higher low at this point at that 34.70 to 35 area, which we're long in front of. So I like the chart for the reversal here. I like the chart on Twitter, but the market's still looking relatively weak. At some point, if we hold these bottoms, I think these are the right names that we're going to be in. So no worries there. Just to come back over to where are you guys? Where are you? It's that CPHI. This name. This is the one that I had all morning long, which was the easy short. We picked 115 as a bottom. Now it's starting to round off of this level, like 110. We talk about $1 as a psychological level on some of these names. Remember, up 35%. So if there's going to be a secondary run, a 120 break in the afternoon if it holds this consolidation, if it can't make a fresh low. I'm going to put this one, just file it away on the radar, but it'll have to happen on volume. The volume's dying off, which still makes it good for the short side trade. But I've been out of this one for a while. My only shorts were pre-market and then just sort of missing out on an opportunity up here. I wanted it at 175 and never quite got there. But if it holds 110 any longer, like, throughout lunchtime, you gotta watch out for a 120 break, even if you're just scalping it like 10, 15 cents into VWAP. I like the risk to reward on this. I know I've only gone short, but the longer it levels off, the better you like to break out almost in either direction. The only problem with a 110 breakdown, pennies away from one even psychological level, so I never like those.
Yeah, I'm just looking here, seeing about getting some more GE downside here. It just keeps on bouncing around 384 and 85, so not much happening. Rocket does go back up to 2680 at least, so I saw the net change a little bit there, and then it stopped. That's right where we got out the first time. I think it's prudent just to do that again. It just keeps falling down to this area, and with the NASDAQ, this is the ES, making moves back to the downside. I don't think Rocket's obviously not following it. It's up 10% today. This is a good candidate to get smoked back to the downside. So I think we'll probably get out again. Well, not we probably will. I'll put another order right here, 75 or 80, something like that. The high was 75 there. So let's see if we get 30 more cents on Rocket, and then we're still long. We're in the money 6 cents, but I just think that there's more to come on this name, especially, I mean, maybe I'll just hold this again for the high side. We need to try to catch some kind of a big win here at some point. Okay, GE, darn it, like we missed 83. I was bidding an inverted gateway. So that means you get passive on a gateway that pays, that you charge, that they charge you to get filled on. Missed it at 83. That's a shame because now we're back up to 86. My average price is 91, so no problem on GE. Just liking to pick some more up on the downside there on this initial break. That's why I'm sitting there. So we're going to miss it. Let's put our bids up a little bit higher here on GE. We should have got some on that low side bid there, but we did miss it. So the only question mark now is Rocket, and I don't know. We'll wait to see what it does. See if it defends this 26, guys.
Yeah, and there goes out U.S. Steel. I was about to go over DraftKings there, but just got a fill there in U.S. Steel. And again, I talked about this. I actually like U.S. Steel, of course. It's just a reversal short for me, guys, that 85 break. But I'm out in front of VWAP. I mean, if it's going to bounce off here time and time again, this is not the one I'm going to hold on to forever for any kind of a short trade. But just a simple setup here off of what was a tight consolidation at the top, breaks a 52-week high, cannot hold it. Once it holds below 25, 85 short, last out there in front of VWAP at 40s. Brendan?
All right, NFT time. Here's another one. Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment, I believe the name of the company is, but popping up on a little more news as far as NFTs are concerned. $6 here, a bit of an issue on the daily chart, but huge volume still coming in, guys, at day highs for HOFV again.
Yeah,
Can't stop these things.
Dolphin, again, the only one I was ever trading was DLPN there on NASDAQ, and that was at 28 bucks the hour down. Now to 16. Come on, charts. Charts doing better now, actually, since the day started. Yeah, a big move down to 15, so not much happening there. HOVF looks like that's going to be the one. We just got some more shares. I did put that Rocket order up. Oh, okay, big size there. As now it wants to go, so maybe we get, oh, it's still on Dolphin. I just said they were working good. Maybe we'll get this 75 after all here. Rocket just making a move back to the upside. There was opportunities, man, to bid near 26. That might be the mistake. Maybe we have to do that. But right now up to 75. We'll get out if it touches that, guys. So just an update on there. And then we get too greedy on Neo and obviously miss that high side move. Probably should have got out on Neo there at 35.80. We've only touched there 1, 2, 3, 4, like a whole bunch of times. So let's put an order there again. Hopefully not make the mistake this time.
Yeah, exactly. And under 1 cent a share. Thank you, Day Trader the World, for the short on HOFE. Not that I have to go short, but I look at it sort of pulling back into this 585 area, and I'm looking at a potential breakdown. Brennan already mentioned that sort of 6 level that's trying to push into. That's why I like a 585 retrace short. You had the problem at 6 a little bit on Friday session, so now that it tries to break below, I think you're risking essentially like 10, 15, 20 cents tops off this bit of a move here. And again, I basically played most of the NFTs being patiently waiting for short side trades, and I'm going to stick with that plan here. It just makes a lot of sense to me in this little range here. So if we get any kind of, I don't know, a sideways consolidation, I like the breakdown too, but it can't seem to hold an offer below 85. To give you an idea what I mean, it's broken 85 a couple of times, but the offer is not coming down to like 82, 83, which I would like to see a heck of a lot better there. So, nope, see, there you go. Once again, it's trying to hold down here at 83, 82, 83. If I see that any longer, that's exactly what I look to do. I'm going to see if we can't pick up any shares in that 83, 84 range to the short side. Now that it looks like it actually wants to make a bit of an offer, guys.
Yep. Okay, good. And yeah, so far so good. Everything making a little bit of sense now as the market trying to just level off here. So some of the trades coming through for us. NEO, we just talked about that one. And then the only stock that I'm pretty worried about, and I don't know what's going to happen here, is GE. We keep talking about the same names, but that's what I'm looking at. PLTR as well. Palantir, bottom sides, 2150. It keeps bouncing off 50s, so that was 2175 today. We're right near day's low, so you can play that. Let's check out Palantir. This is the downward move there on Friday, so we are like right there, guys. This Palantir move is right there, so 2175. Probably worth a little bit of a long, but this market can't catch bids. Like, we're already long GE, NEO, and Rocket. This break of Palantir could get nasty. 2175 on the downside. A daily chart of it brings us to 2116, but there's 21. Yeah, I mean, this is a breaking spot for sure on Palantir. Just a matter of what you think about the market. We talked about this over and over. I always get questions like, when's it going to go back up? I mean, it's when the NASDAQ decides to turn around. There's lots of names that are beat up here. Look at C3 AI. Like, anything that basically was a growth stock that IPO'd or something like that in the last 6 to 12 months, even back a little further. This was back to, I think AI was November or so. Or maybe it's right here. December is as far. Yeah, okay. So good memory, at least back to December. You could see well below even IPO price. So compare that. Look, Palantir had to run up. Thank God we're still hovering here. We could be a lot lower. IPO price of Palantir is down near 10 and change, right? 950 it was, I believe, 980, something like that. So we still have a little ways to go before we take all that back. But 2175, a good spot to defend here on PLTR.
Yeah, and sort of, what I love about that is like you got to pick out and find the difference between some of those names like C3 AI. Of course, my daily chart not going back far enough. I can tell you guys in Lemonade, there is level at 70, guys. You'll stick out like a sore thumb. But there are some names which are holding up a little better. This one's a $47 issue. And again, any one of those IPOs that is above that issue price is going to be interesting to you guys. I think in terms of if you like any on a dip, the ones that are absolutely crushing below, I think you want to be very, very patient with. Just to go back to that HOFV, I did actually finally get into position, bit of a pain in the butt catching that short. I did get some at 85, and then the rest, whatever. We got it at 80, and then we were able to get some at 85. I'm going to be bidding down into like 560. First things first, 570 to 575, and then 560 to 565 as well. So as this one started to come in, I kind of showed you what I was trying to wait for there, where the offer would actually come down instead of just 85 breaks and people that have stop orders get short 84, 83, but the offer doesn't come with it. I like to see the actual weakness before it comes in. Thank you for the super chat. A little American citizen saying HOFE, big announcement on the 30th. Yeah, I'm day trading it, so I don't care too much about that, except for the fact that a lot of times you will see a sell into those names, into announcements or anticipation, especially when you get a bit of a run up. I've stayed away from this one for waiting for more weakness in HGEN, which is not coming in. And this is the one where my day could have been ruined. I was shorting this off of these levels, 2350. Off of this 2450 top several times, but look at how tight all of these stops are. You just can't average in forever, and you can't hold forever on any of these shorts. Otherwise, you're staring 29 in the face. The stock has shown no signs of slowing down yet. I've stayed away from it once it made that breakout, and if it gets below 25, then I'll at least jump back into this thinking about the short, or if it halts to the upside. Until then, let's go to Ms. V at the big screen.
Hey Neil, Upstart is named from the chat. UPST is up around 7% and trading on a high volume. Back to you.
Oh, upstart. We actually back it. So, I mean, we have a mixed, I think we had a mixed relationship. Actually did a decent trade with this one, upstart, but I'll tell you why this actually concerns me here, because I did make a little bit on the short side of this trade before then trying to bottom pick on upstart. And this was a frustrating one for me because I actually had a long on the way down when it took out some fresh lows. It couldn't hold support. And then look at it dip right into previous resistance at 106 and then rounds up towards the top. So this is the thing of it. It's a lot easier on a swing trade to catch a bottom like that than it is on a day trade. That's just the reality, because you know you can give it to like 100 even. It's just a lot easier to have that kind of a stop in a time frame. On the day trade, it can be tricky at times. You'll see that happen. That happened with Alibaba, that 225 area. It was a great bounce if you had long enough, but the first time down on the day trade, it stunk. Upstart, to me, it just has to be a sell if it gets into this 160 today. I just don't see any way that there isn't a bit of a turnaround at that little top. They caught a bit of an upgrade. It got flushed so hard. You would think the rubber band action works in both ways. So I'm looking to see if it can't fail at a 160. But my advice here would just be, when you're making some of those bottom dips, they can be tricky on the daily, on the intraday trade. But on the swing, it's a little bit easier to hold through 110 to like that 100, 105 to 100 to 105 area on the way down. I couldn't on the day trade, unfortunately, that day. It just is what it is. But I'm selling. I'm a seller if it gets to that 160 mark in upstart today.
Upstart, yeah. I mean, we talked about a lot of those new names coming through. Palantir as well, another new stock for us here. We'll see if we get up to 85 on Palantir. We bought right here, and we just sold a little bit as the market, tried to make bottoms. I was like, oh, if I can get out for flat, I'll take some of that. But okay, now we're waiting for 85s and the 90s. And then if this market can blast, man, 22 even. This is a scalp trade for me, so that's why we get a little bit out here, not even for profit, just for flat. We'll wait to see if 2185 fills. I think I have an order there. Yes, I do. And then upside here, because we're still long GE, and I don't want everything to completely fall, apart, which it can tend to do time to time. Check Friday, check a few different days here. But here we go, Palantir back to the upside. We're waiting at 85 to see if we get out. We're long at 80, so it's not horrible here on Palantir. What's up, B?
Some of these stocks involved in that liquidation starting to head southbound again. I'll show you this one. TME again, day lows here, just heading through that 1950. Gave you a nice re-up at 20.5. But Viacom as well, guys, just noticed starting to roll over also.
No, Viacom, you're killing me, Viacom. So, obviously I was in that Viacom for a while to the short side trade, so it's kind of annoying to see. But every now and then you're going to make a top wick, and I just made it at 46 here. You can see it plain as day. It flushes back down to that low. Now, remember, we talked about this level at 43 even. And the reason why 43 was so important, it was after it halted to the upside. So it bounced off that 40 even. And when it halted to the upside, it then held a 43 for over a half an hour. It was like, almost a full hour. That's going to be a big level on Viacom. So if there's any kind of size shows up there, it's maybe worthy of a small bounce. But if Viacom cannot hold 43, you're looking at that 40. Again, we thought there could be round two, and it looks like it's coming rather quickly. So I should have held on to my Viacom. I'm more happy that I made some of it back on that short trade, but that was a home run waiting to happen. I didn't give it to VWAP because, again, I didn't want to get caught at the bottom. It's just as simple as that. No way I wanted to be caught at the bottom. I thought maybe if it did hold that 46 or break that 46, we could be headed towards that 50 that we talked about earlier in the pre-show. 43 is the level to the downside. If it can bounce there, I'd look for a scalp long maybe, but I wouldn't be holding on to that too long. Round two looks like it's in full effect in all of these names.
Yeah, we got out, I guess, by accident there on all of our GEs up at 88 there. I don't know if I had orders pending or what, but we did get back in there. We did get out of our GEs, working it up. That was basically the flat. And so I must have just had too many orders sitting there. So now we'll average back. I still like the long, so we'll take the long again. We'll just have a completely different price than we had before. So just to let you guys know, I must have just had too many orders there. Did not mean to get them all out at 88. In fact, I wanted to cancel and thinking that GE was finally on its way up. But that appears to be incorrect as GE right now coming back downside. So we'll wait on that one. Out of half of our Palantir, man, we did get some 85s there. So that was a good one. Now it's coming back down. We're going to watch out for 50s breaking through on the downside. We're not going to hold it much past 70 though, guys. If we see a 69 print, we're going to fly out of here because I do think that 2150 does get tested. So I'd rather go long down there and see what that looks like than hold it all the way down there. So Palantir it'll be a negative trade because we're long at 81. We'll get out at 69, but it's apples and oranges there. on this trade, so nothing off our skin there. GE, we just took another bid, and we're just talking about the same stocks. Let's go over to 10 Cent Music. You talked about Viacom dropping downside. Here goes TME as well. I do want to get involved with Viacom at 43, so we'll wait. And here's this little area of concern as well on TME. So 1930, we did have something, and then maybe you bottom out at 19. Can we scroll all the way down to see? Yeah, so there is some size there at 19, but even bigger size at 20. So yeah, this is going to be a fun ride for anybody watching any of those meme stocks, guys. I mean, I'm going to call them that now. TME, Viacom, they're just these joker stocks that just have reasons to start heading down. And of course, it's hedge funds getting blasted out. Different margin calls happening all over the place. So Viacom, man, it was something that used to never move, makes huge moves, and now we're back to this 43 level.
Yeah, and to be perfectly, it's hard to look at this in Discovery and not say to yourself, man, but if it gets to 40 and 35 for sure, but if it gets to 40, like you gotta picking this thing up at the discount that you're getting. When you get liquidations like this, it doesn't necessarily say it's price action mostly driven. Like it doesn't say too much about the actual business itself. But either way, if we start dipping any further than this, I'm going to be looking to pick some shares up to the long side. And I just want to come back. Could I have held on to US Steel? Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we got it maybe too early there, but relative strength play that had already bounced off you up. That's the reason why we'll cover that one. And I want to come to Twitter just to show you guys starting to break towards the low, but let's remember what we're trying to work with here. And again, this is I'm not digging any more shares into NEO, but Twitter, this is last week's action, that 62 top. So I'm buying into that 62 top. If there's going to be a turn back in one of these names, I like Twitter off that 62 area, guys. And then if we can get back to these are where I'm offering into that chop from earlier in the week. So early last week, that 64 to 65.50 area, maybe dipping into this little breakdown at 63.80 or so for the first leg out. So at the end of the day, I'm not really taking any profit till it's $1 in the money, and I like it $1 from here. So it's not quite the same trade as I have over in like an HOFV, to the short side where, obviously I'm willing to give it a little bit of room, but Brendan actually mentioned that 6 even area, right? So he went up there and told you all about HOFV. There was some interesting bidding going on, which I call layering, but it is what it is. So I was bidding down here. Well, I told you where my orders were between 70 and 75. It bounced off that. Okay, fair enough. Someone threw some orders on the bid, layering at 90s, which popped up to 6. Someone mentioned that 6 area. Brendan? Yeah, of course. Well, it goes to 6. I get some shares. When it fails, 95. I get some more shares there at 90. Now I'm getting them out in that same mid to high 70 range, and then my bids are all still there from before, guys. So it is what it is. You talk about those key levels, you work off of those as you try. And what I mean by layering was, I don't know if I can show it to you here. I don't know why this is US Steel because my group link hates me today. There we go. So you just see that like 10,000 share order at 80. All I mean is that there were say imagine like a 10,000 on NASDAQ and then the same size order on ARCA and the same size order on BATS and then a couple of pennies down the exact same thing again. And then it gets to that price level and maybe they want the shares, maybe they don't. So a lot of times you'll see that push a stock to the upside when they either get filled or cancel. You'll see it flush back down. So when I saw that, I just sort of added to the shares at 90 there on the way back in. And now we're still consolidating in front of my range where I'm trying to take targets out. So HUFE, nice little trade there, but just want to show you guys what caused the spike to the upside and why I wasn't really panicking in front of that 6. Brendo?
Another one to look at, guys, Fly. Anybody wondering about this? FLY, there's a deal in place on this 1705 cash deal merger today, if you're wondering. FLY up big time on that, guys.
Okay, yeah, FLY. I mean, lots of stocks moving today for sure. NEO comes right back in, wondering if this is a good buy here, and with NASDAQ starting to move back. So that's the ES. Let's switch over to NASDAQ quickly. I prefer that. I have it on the other screen. Yeah, see, okay, so NASDAQ not really making the moves back up, but NEO right now back to this level where we went long. I mean, we went long 35.15, but I mean, what's the difference? We're back here to these 20 levels with downside movement possibly coming here on NIO. So we are going to watch out for that one. Here it comes. Yeah. Okay. We got to watch out. 34.80. We do have some buys on the downside. So if NEO does come in, I do like a sell side here for NEO, like down. I mean, I like it to sell into my bids. 35 even, we'll buy some more, and then we'll buy some more down here, 34.80, 34.90, and then see what happens down 34.40. But some downside movements happening right here on NEO, it looks like, guys.
And reloaded. Thank you very much. I'll ride the bear train on that SEAC, and of course got this one. Again, pay attention to Brendan because he'll give you some interesting trades to look at. There was this pre-market high that it broke out from 155. When it rolled over there, I shorted in front of it at 150. I got some out all the way down to 140, halfway to target. It pops back up, gives me the re-entry here, so we do get some more shares back in. My average price now 51s, and then I'll just continue to bid in front of 40 and then still have my bids in front of 130. So not much to see except for the fact that this short continues to work out for us. Yeah, there's HOFE, actually just gave me a bit of a fill. Still getting some shares out on this one. In that sort of like mid 70s range, has yet to really flush, but you're seeing it try to bounce for a second time off that 575. NEO is getting a little frustrating. You have to watch out for this market. I have not averaged into this one again. I don't think I will. Not one it's Twitter that I'm going to be digging into here, which showed more strength in the pre-market than anything I could find. So NEO, if it breaks 35, I'm going to give up the ghost on this particular name. It got to VWAP. I don't know. Every now and then you do look the gift horse in the mouth. I 100% did on NIO today. Yeah, I probably should have been able to take out like the 70-cent win and just seen the resistance that it had there. But either way, try to let this one run a little bit further. Not going to be the case. It looks like if it breaks 35, I will take a hit of about 15 to 20 cents, depending on what we actually get for the execution on the stop order for the last 20% of this position. I'll dig into Twitter and give that one all day long in front of 62. Sorry, in front of 62 even, not all day long, in front of 62 even. But NIO not even giving to low of the day anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm looking around here too at some of these names. I do want to get into NEO and try it. I do want to also get into Palantir downside. We are bidding 61s. It just touched 65s again. Maybe 65 is better. But you know, the name that I'm looking at, okay, there's GE. We just got some more there. I'm happy with this. I still think GE goes to the high side, and I want to be part of it, so that's good. And then Microsoft. This is really the missed opportunity because we were long here, and we just should have got longer. So if we can get back to 232.50 or something like that on Microsoft, I like that for a hold. So 232.50 into this area on Softy, especially with the market coming in here. If we get any kind of a bounce move on Softy, that should come through. So 232, like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s in there makes sense to me. Rocket, this is why you get out. I mean, Rocket just right back down, man. We talked, when Brendan gave us the news, and I was like, why are we up 12, 13, 14, 15%? And then he came and was like, Wall Street bets. I mean, that was enough for me. We got in there on that retrace and out, and then this nets me exactly flat. So in for 30 penny winner, out for 30 penny loser, and then with our fee structure, that's nothing. So 24 and change. I don't like Rocket anymore. It's obviously got its juice taken out of it. The reason why I'm always long every day, except for today, early, is for this move. So I think we can retest that next time on Rocket. Get longer tomorrow if we can get in. I'll go long again if we can get into this 2380, 2390 area. It's still ways to go, but that's back down here where we opened. Actually, still 4.5%, 5%. So it's moving a lot, this Rocket. So if you do want to put on some risk, I think there's an opportunity there. We did pick up some NEO right here, 35.19, and it just went up back to 25. So we'll see if we can't get some out. Not near VWAP not near VWAP this time, but more near like this area, 48s and 50s. If we can get out where we've been getting out on NEO, I think it's worth the cycle back and forth. So we'll still wait for a bottom spot here on NEO, but right now NEO and GE, the only names that I'm in.
I will drop the money plane in for a HOFV. Look, I talked about why I wasn't panicking when I saw the stock get pushed up to that 6 even area. It rolls over at 6. We added to the position instead of taking off. I now have half of it out. As it gets to VWAP, you can see all the orders we had. And I talked about it. It's at 65 to 70s. I did have those bids from 75 into 80 as well. So we talked about this on the way down. I think if it does break lower from here, there is a chop zone 55 to 60. I'll definitely take some off in that range. But then I watch for this, like, if the floodgates open and 550, I should say, gets taken out, I'd like to have something on board for it to maybe go down towards some of the lows in the morning. Seems unlikely because it's likely to get some juice or maybe a secondary push to it, but I wanted to make sure I had some profit off of this VWAP. You always want to make sure you do that. And apparently Twitter went down, like the actual service, or was down for a little bit, and is back now. I can tell you my long in Twitter isn't back, so maybe if that one wants to recover, that'd be a little bit better. It is still holding that 62 area, but for me, I've shown you guys a higher time frame. That's what I care about. As long as we can hold last week's tops sort of Thursday and Friday's tops as support. That's what it's all about. I don't think any outage, of course, is going to help the trade there, but it's really a market story. The ES is holding on the lows, and NASDAQ trying to hold the bottom as well. NEO is in the money a little bit, but it's shown some serious weakness for me. And then the last position I have on is that SEAC on the NASDAQ over here, and it has just made another bounce up, actually, to VWAP here. I try to get some out at 145 every 5 pennies like I always do, and it bounces off my order, makes another tested VWAP. So showing some signs of strength, not a ton of concern yet. I'll give it only about 5 pennies on the reload. So if it breaks that 155, 156 area, I do have to walk away from it because you don't want to give back the profit that you made on a name like this. So if it does that, I would not touch it till it tests 175 at the top. That's just the way I like to play these ones.
All right, just checking out the chat here. Thank you for everybody today. If you can, hit the like and hit the subscribe button, guys, and share it. Obviously, I don't know if Twitter's working. Share it on Twitter, share it on Insta as well. Okay, we're gonna start to get longer here on PLTR. I'm waiting for 61s. We just took a little bit there. We're gonna wait for the downside 60, 61 and then give it through 2150 as the NASDAQ seems to have been stalled out here a little bit. So that's why we got into some Palantir. We know that if the market takes off that we can easily get back to 22 even. So I think it's worth it here. You can take a decent amount of shares and not worry too much about it. There it is, finally 2000. So that's a good one. Downside on GE, we're still looking at that. We did take out our NEO right there, so a nice little in at 20. We just took off this trade, 15s out, 35s. Now you're going to see me long, I think. Anyways, yeah, 35.20 right now on NEO. And then just looking, man, for right where we said again, if we can do that, that'd be great. 50s, 48s, 49, something like that on NEO. We'll get out of it, and then we'll get into Palantir. We're into GE. Check out back on AMC, as it's a name that you guys like. But again, profitable stock for me today. One of my better stocks, honestly, as we go. Nice little win. The only out was right there was we held like our last 20% or something to see what happened. It does break VWAP. It gets below that 40. Now it's just doing this. GameStop, check in on that, 178.50. I wish I could tell you that I thought there was a trade in here, but even if we start breaking lows, like 178, then we still got to get through 177. And then when we do that, we got to figure out what's happening here at 173. Like there's really no clear direction unless you just start seeing it start murdering some of these levels to the downside. Then like if it hits this huge, then you can start to say, okay, now I'm going to look at this 173, 174. Like if it starts to hit it, maybe halting, things like that. But right now, not too much love for any of these names, including any NASDAQ name, including GameStop, Rockets back to the downside, Alibaba nicely bouncing. Let's check out on Tencent maybe. Still low. We were going long, man. We liked this 22 break early. Took it. Defended. Are we down on Tencent? Yeah, we're down on Tencent here, but still with more to come. 19.25. This is that area, man. It bounced off there once. Let's see if it does it again, and then we'll see if it holds 19. But right now, stocks moving southbound.
Yeah, I just got a bad wick or bad trigger on Twitter there, as it did not break 62 to my estimation, what I see here. So I'm going to go ahead and if you get out when you don't intend to, just jump right back into it and then throw what should be a correct stop order. I want to go to some relative strength, and we mentioned this one last week, and then once again, Oracle looking pretty strong here. It's starting to get back towards that 73, 74 area where it makes an obvious sort of profit-taking price target, especially in a weak market. So, look, Oracle's been on a nice little run here, guys, but showing that relative strength. I do think it's going to slow down in that 73 mark, at least consolidate up here a little bit. So put that on your radar. HOFE is absolutely flushing, so that one does continue to work out, and you've waited all morning. Fantastic guest coming through again here. Let's go to Brendan. It's time for our guest of the day.
Hey guys, yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, we're heading back to the cannabis sector today and some special purpose acquisition talk with Subversive Capital and Subversive Acquisition LP. Michael Auerbach is founder of both and joins us once again on the show. Great to see you once again, Michael. Happy to have you back. We appreciate your time. Talking about the latest move for the company today, Intercure over in Israel. Why don't you tell us about that?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me back on. It's always a pleasure to be on the show. I enjoy watching throughout the week, and so just happy to be back. So this is the second SPAC transaction in recent months for Subversive. we're acquiring Intercure, 100% of Intercure, which is a Tel Aviv Stock Exchange listed cannabis operator in Israel. They command just over 15% of the medical market. We anticipate adult use turning on in Israel in the next 12 to 18 months, which we've modeled to be about a $2 billion market. In fact, Israel right now is a larger market than all of Europe for the calendar year. And the company itself, Intercure, is the most profitable company with the highest margins outside of North America. So we couldn't be more thrilled with this transaction. We're set to close this transaction on April 8th. We uplisted from the NEO or dual listed from the NEO to the Toronto Stock Exchange to allow us to close on the TSX in April, and then shortly after closing, we'll be listed on the NASDAQ. So we're excited. We've got a $65 million pipe secured, so we've met all conditions of closing. We've got $225 million in trust. And we think we're set to create a very compelling platform to not only dominate the Israeli market, but as they consider their options outside of Israel, we think it's a very good platform. It kind of reminds me of TrueLeave 2017, to be honest.
Yeah, congratulations first of all on the uplisting, also on this latest transaction. Let's get into Intercure a little bit. Tell us a little bit about some of the advantages maybe that Intercure has. I'm sure the majority of the viewers watching today were very much unaware of the size of the medical market in Israel, as you mentioned, bigger than Europe. Tell us about Intercure.
Yeah, so Intercure is one of the oldest licensed producers in Israel. There's approximately 8 that have been licensed over the past 10 years. It's one of the oldest medical marijuana regimes on the planet. In fact, the THC molecule was discovered by Professor Meshulam at Hebrew University in the late 60s. And so Israel has a very lengthy history when it comes to the use of cannabis for medical purposes. And there are a number of studies being done in Israel over the years on the efficacy of cannabis, including Intercure's own studies with autism and epilepsy, cancer, and other studies that the company has done. It's a pharmacy model in Israel, so dissimilar to the medical programs in the U.S. So the Intercure product is for sale in 140 plus pharmacies where you can sell medical cannabis, where you go in with a prescription and get it. And then Intercure now owns approximately 4 pharmacies and will increase that footprint of owned pharmacies to capture even greater margin over the coming months. They've partnered with global leaders in both brands and international LPs. And so they import cannabis from companies like Tilray and Afria and Organigram, as well as created partnerships with leading consumer brands like Cookies. And so the Cookies Tel Aviv pharmacy opened recently to great fanfare in Tel Aviv, and Cookies' sister brand Lemonade, they'll be opening a Lemonade pharmacy in Jerusalem in the coming weeks.
Let's talk about those partnerships, because I think it's important for people to understand this is a wide-reaching company that does have ties, even if it's on the supply side of things, to the North American markets. And as you mentioned, some of the names in this group that people might be a little bit more familiar with, such as Tilray and Organigram. What does that say for a company like Intercure, and also on a global basis, and also for this transaction?
Yeah, I mean, we've been looking to invest in an Israeli cannabis operator for about 7 years, but basically since 2013, when Subversive first got into cannabis with the investment in Privateer, which spun out Tilray. One of the first trips I took with the Privateer group was to Israel in evaluating the Israeli landscape. And it was really through my relationship with Ehud Barak, who's the former prime minister of Israel, who's the chairman of Intercure. He reached out a couple of years ago to ask around, exporting Tilray product, a company of which I sit on the board, to Israel, and sort of the first export. And, we consummated that transaction. And then we had the first export from Israel to the Tilray facility in Portugal, bound for the German market. And so, of all the players in Israel, this is the most competent in terms of business acumen, investment acumen. The margin profiles of the company exceed anything that we see in the U.S. They run a good ship. They grow, very good product. best in class in Israel. And, as the other LPs have, floundered or faltered, they've been able to garner additional market share. Not just through these import relationships that they have with Tilray and Afri and Organigram, the high quality flour. They actually grow high quality flour at both their northern facility and southern facility. And then with the brands, which is what people want, Cookies branded product in Israel. Israelis, like Europeans, love American brands. And so they're the only company in Israel that's been able to garner these licensing agreements with U.S. brands to really continue to capture more market share and set them up to dominate the adult use market in Israel when that turns on in a few months.
And one of the more popular topics in this sector has been the fact that we have a new government in the U.S. that's going to have some more favorable policies when it comes to the cannabis market in the U.S. Is there any kind of ties that we'll see on an international basis coming through that will be positive for this?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that will be attractive to some of the international LPs, as we provide sort of, immediate EBITDA and profitability to some of the partners that are out there in terms of being an attractive target in the future. When prohibition ends in the U.S., I think it'll be a while before there'll be sort of inter-country commerce. I do believe there'll be interstate commerce in the U.S. But once, because we'll be NASDAQ listed, once federal prohibition ends, I think there will then be deeper ties between a company like InterCure and the company that we have, the relationships that we have in the U.S. today.
Michael Arbach, founder, Subversive Capital, joining us once again, talking about the new deal or the new merger agreement with InterCure. When the deal closes, you mentioned beginning of April, going to be listed on the NASDAQ. Is there a symbol?
Yes, it's so we don't have the symbol for the NASDAQ, but the symbol on the TMX is SVX.U and on the OTC SBVRF. And then the symbol will be similar to the InterCure symbol, which is currently traded on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. And we'll announce that shortly after the transaction closes.
Exciting times, exciting agreement for the company. We congratulate you once again, and thank you for joining us. Michael Arbach, chairman and founder of Subversive Capital and Subversive Acquisition. Good to see you once again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
There we go, guys. A little bit of a look at the cannabis sector and some more special purpose acquisition activity in it. Guys.
There it is, Weed Batman, the official Weed Batman. I guess we throw it out. Great interview. Thank you so much for that. And look, more information. If you didn't know about Israel there and their long, steady ties, big time moves. I love how he sort of associated the company with TrueLeaf back in 2017. You guys can check that out. I'm actually an investor in that company, and it's like one of the only marijuana stocks that didn't go up in smoke. TrueLeaf for many, many reasons there as well. Look, we really capitalized on Neo there, man. It held that 35. And we went long. We were going to give it all the way to the bottom, and then just took some out there at 26, took some out at 13, 14, 15. So now we're very, very light. But just letting everyone know that we did buy there and then got out at the top. So that was a pretty good move. And now we're very, very light in everything. We've been getting out of some of this GE. It doesn't look like the market wants to go. The NASDAQ tried. We've been averaging into GE. Our average price is right here, 85. So it comes up to 84. We took a little bit out. Still thinking of high side there. Don't know if that's going to happen. And then Palantir, the same thing. This was our biggest position, so that's why you see my average price now to 63. I told you we were just testing here, and now we put on this position. So now we'll wait to see, man. That's where we're long. So we'll see if Palantir can hold this bottom as the NASDAQ trying to go. My target for Neo now, like I have an order in the 30s, and then we'll see if we get out in the 50s. But it's been a pretty good day. It's been a tough one if you've only thought long, though, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you had to play both directions, so I think that's been the nature of the game. And don't get married to one or the other. Interestingly enough, I'll get to HOFE maybe in a second, just bouncing off you up there. I did take a bunch of profit out. I'll look to see if I get another reload in front of that 6 even area. My last entry, of course, was at that 88, a quarter position left. That's all I have. Viacom, on the other hand, 43. I mean, on a dime. This was a very fast flush. And on Viacom, I actually did just like seconds ago try to catch some of this on the way back in. I bounced off 43. I tried to buy some in front of it. You had to catch that on the way down, to be perfectly honest. Unless you're a robot or an algorithm, I guess, and maybe you got the long off the bottom. but 43,
You should have had
big
orders
level
sitting
on
there.
Friday.
I had orders sitting there, and I guess they must have been on auto cancel from when we did Phil. But that's
Unbelievable.
Like Neil said, you could be two things, right? A robot, which is what algos are, right? They're robots just sitting there buying these levels, or like I layer the levels in here, which is I'm really surprised because I did have some 43s there and then just not paying attention. That's why when you said it was at 43, I was like, what the hell?
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy move there. That would have been a great buy. I don't think you need to buy any now. I just think you can wait for another 43 flush. Still down 9%. VIC can't get out of its own way. Palantir seems to be working. What's up, B?
All right, just looking at Pfizer and Moderna, guys. We're going to get to earnings here in a second, but I want to show you this first. CDC real-world study confirming 80% efficacy rate on the first dose of both Pfizer and Moderna's vaccine. So Pfizer having a nice day here. Went positive and then some. Not a huge move, but nice look for PFE, Moderna as well. There's another one on this board, BioNTech, BNTX, the ticker there right in the middle, guys.
Canoe, BioNTech there. Yeah, so it looks like we're just a lot of bioscience names coming in there. Oh, XL Fleet XL, that's been a fun one. And then there's Candy Make You Dandy. That car, me no likey, but we'll see if
like
earnings can come through. I think that was that Joker car, Brendan. If you still have that picture, we can show that again. But KNDI had a funny looking car there. It's just not for me, doesn't mean it's not for you, but look at that picture when you get a chance, Candy.
I'm sure some people would call that car cute. I don't know. I mean, we kind of joke around about it, but I'm sure there's something for everybody out there. I talked about the bad trigger in Twitter, but I did get back into it off that 62 level. 62 never broke, so I still actually have that to the long side, and then that HOFV. That's all I got. Look, the Viacom 43, needless to say, if it breaks to the downside, we did talk about that 40 bottom, which was unreal on Friday, so that'd be the next level down. We always have a different, like, what national day it is, of course, and I don't know. It's Easter this week, which makes me think of certain treats. This treat, Ms. V, because I can see it on the big screen, I have no idea what this is. So what is today's National Day?
Thank you, Neil, and hey guys, thank you very much for starting this trading week with us. I wish you a great rest of the day, stay safe, have a profitable days, and please don't leave without giving us a like and subscribing to our channel. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and happy National Lemon Chiffon Cake, everyone.
Okay, so like, when I looked it up, I'm like, I know this cake. I just had no idea what it was called. Okay, so that's actually relatively tasty. I'm a chocolate cake guy myself. I don't know, Sean. Are you into lemon chiffon? Is that how I pronounce it? I don't even know, but everyone's already had this kind of a cake before, I'm assuming. But do you even like this?
I mean, I like lemon cake. I like lemon meringue pie,
Yes.
and lemon tarts and stuff. So that looks like it might be a possibility. For me, the name though, I don't know. I'm not into French. I don't know what that is, but not super into that particular cake. I don't have the biggest sweet tooth. I mean, I do prefer nice little fruit with something, which is pretty sweet. But chocolate and desserts, not really my thing. But that looks pretty tasty, Brendan.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just dealing with data issue here, guys. Yeah, I think it's kind of like an angel food cake or something along those lines, like very light and airy, but
With
yeah,
little
sure.
lemon pieces or something up in there. But
Exactly.
Yeah,
Why not?
Yeah, it's been a good show. I just want to talk about XL Fleet quickly. They're reporting tomorrow, and if you want to get jiggy with it, shout out to Will Smith there. I hope you guys know that. That's a real old song. Wow. Okay, look at this stock. We talked about recent IPOs. XL Fleet, I thought they actually had some decent things going on with them, and getting into the charge. Anyways, you can look it all up there. We'll see what comes, but I'm just wondering. This seems pretty low, man. $8, $9. If this beats, you watch out. We'll find out about the shortable interest. Do your homework. Brandon's having data issues, but the shortable interest on XL would be something. If you guys have it in the chat, give it to us quickly as we get ready to sign out, because I'm just thinking that if this does somehow beat, look how this is forming. It's forming out just to crush people that are short. So watch out. This could go from 9 to 13 tomorrow in a quick time. So watch out there for XL. And I'm not long this stock, so I'm not talking up my own book here. It doesn't really matter. I'm just thinking that if there is a shortable interest on this one, guys, watch out. But that's XL Fleet. I like it for the long tomorrow, guys.
It's like honestly like shooting field goals in basketball here, for me here today. It's like you take one win, you take one loss, and then of course it was a great short in HOFE. I just got stopped out on the re-entry. I got more shares back in at 96, and it breaks at 6 even we talked about. So it bounces off the UP. That's why we take profit on the way down and try to give you the idea and the thought process when going against the grain. These 8 FT names still showing some strength. The show showing a ton of strength here, guys. Thank you so much for the support. It's been a fantastic one for the entire team down the line. Ms. V, I don't know if the black was good. We're now down 0.5%, still down 0.5%.
Black is okay. The black is okay.
Lots of time for the market to rebound, though. From my man Sean Katina, for Brennan Wickens, fantastic interview as always. I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.